All right. Good evening, folks. Wow, we just lost Ellie, but she will come back ASAP. Um, but evening, people. This is North London Derby week. It should be crazy the next couple of days on this channel. Uh, the Queen is back.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear anything.
Okay, that's very important. That's very important.
I know.
It's going to be crazy couple of days on all the YouTube streams for Spurs, Arsenal. Rare occasion when both teams have not lost, undefeated, and going in, and it's a huge matchup. But we have a lot to talk about. A lot of news has happened. We had the interview yesterday. Daniel Levy's comments. We'll try to talk about it in a timely fashion because we all want to talk about the North London Derby. But there's some very interesting comments. There is Perisic. That's a huge injury. And so we'll get into that. But before that, let's do a little check-in. Iggy, how are you doing?
I'm good, my man. How are you guys? You good? How's everyone in the panel tonight? And how's everyone in the chat, more importantly?
Yeah, good, Iggy. Thank you for asking.
No
I feel
problem.
nice and confident, actually, but I'm sort of very nervous as well because I hate watching North London derbies. I just get too panicky and I hide. But I'm going to be in Cyprus, so it's going to be a different
nice.
experience. Yeah.
Nice. Lee, I know you were under the weather, but it's good to have you back. Full strength. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Been a long old day today. It's the first time I've actually been into my office where I work for a year, so it was a bit of a journey. So I'm knackered, but I'm still awake, so it's all good.
How you feel?
That's good. Find that extra strength, and the Queen, Ellie.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm sort of quietly confident, but with this game coming up, I've got faith in Ange Postecoglou's style of play, but Arsenal are going to be a tougher cookie, and we haven't really got a really good record there, have we?
Winning 3-0 at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, they're looking
they're
good.
winning 3-0 and they're playing very, very well.
Killed the game off the first half an hour. They killed the game off already.
Yeah, they blew them away.
PSV is not an easy team. That's a good team. They got it's
within 30 minutes of the first half, they wiped the floor with them.
Yeah,
no problems at all. So
I didn't even see that result. I didn't get back that long ago. I'm watching the Bayern Munich match. I've just seen the other one that you're talking about. Jesus.
Yeah.
And Trossard scored. Martinelli is injured. We'll get to
4-0. I don't know. Scott's saying it's 4-0. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was 3-0 when I came home. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, it is now.
So there you go.
Sorry for spoilers in the chat.
It's a good time. It's a good time for them to get their mojo because they kind of haven't been impressive this first couple of games. But we'll get to that. But just a big up for those in the chat. We're just gonna big up to La Simchana. Yes. Is that Sim? Oh yes, that is Sim.
It looks like Sim, yeah.
That is Sim. Big up, Big Tone.
Big
That's my dog, man. Tone in the house. JJ, always in the house. Big supporter. Toxic Headshot. Big up, Dietrichs. 5'1" Iggy.
Yeah. He doesn't waste an opportunity to remind me about it.
They bounced back. They were unlucky yesterday. They're
not doing so well tonight, though, are they?
Oh, Inter, yeah. For those Spurs.
Yeah. He didn't bring that up, though, did
he? Big up to Hasper. Big up, guys. Go to the channel. Go to that channel. You're from the South Side. Iggy were on there yesterday, right? No. Stell was on there yesterday. Stell was on the channel yesterday. Please big up, support these guys. Support has. Big up to Chris. Big up. Big supporter. Big up to Scott. giving us the scores. Big up, Scott. Big up, Simon. Big up. Definitely. Where do we begin? Let me before we go in maybe on Levy, let's start with Perisic being gone for the year. Fabrizio had just reported that he says he's going to try to come back in March and April. When you're dealing with an ACL, that is a very, very tough injury to come back quickly. I know they have medical advancements. People have come back in 3 to 4 months, but it really depends on the person. And Perisic is older; he's not younger. I say this is a huge injury because we have no depth, and number two, it removes one of our ways of scoring. Because if Perisic is coming in, right, just like you saw the Sheffield United game, helps kind of it helps the Charleston and Valise or anybody else that's good in the air with Perisic whipping those ball in. We can't lie. He is the best, one of the best on our team in regards to set pieces and set things into the box. And so it's a massive loss. Iggy, am I correct? This loss with Perisic.
Well, look, many of the guys will know that at the end of last season, I said, look, let's just like cut our ties and let him go to hijack split. I did say that. So for those, because in the video that I did this afternoon, and many of them reminded me, but you wasn't one of his favorite fans, or I wasn't. It wasn't like I had anything against him per se. It's just I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe it's time to part ways because it didn't have the best of seasons last season. But then again, other than Kane, who did? So I thought to myself, maybe it's the time to part ways. Bring someone else in that can be a bit more exciting, a bit younger, more hungry. Because at the end of the day, this guy's done everything in the game. Really, he's won everything in the game, and maybe I felt it was the time to part ways. That's how I saw it. But seeing him in the last few games and the impact that he has off the bench, I did think to myself, you know what? He has been one of the better performers coming off the bench. He makes an impact in a positive way, and I saw him as one of those players that a manager would look over to the bench and say, do you know what, bring him on because we need something, which is what happened on against Sheffield United. So I saw that all of a sudden, okay, now this guy really does have a purpose in his team. He can make an impact when things are not, perhaps when we're trying to break the deadlock, which is what happened against Sheffield United, or trying to get the equaliser in our case. So I had been a fan of him because I realised he has got something to give. This is just terrible news. Like it wasn't just the fact that he's done his ACL, but he done it probably in the worst way possible. It's like a real bad one, and in the non-contact. It's just that it must have been. Do you remember that a few years ago when Michael Owen in the World Cup, on the ball, and his knee kind of just gave way and he just flopped. It was a similar sort of way, That's how I vision in my head to happen, where there was no one around him, and his knee just gave way. Maybe it was just his stand, as he's gone to do a little skill, he's put a bit of weight on that knee, and it just collapsed. And it's just the timing of it is awful. And obviously, I say as well, it's bad for the player that has the injury, but to be in training and to witness a teammate that happening, it does send a bit of shockwaves. I've been involved in football matches. I said it earlier on. I've been involved in football matches where I've been no further than 5-10 yards when one of my teammates broke his ankle from a challenge, an impact challenge, and I've heard someone, my hamstrings popped before. So that's they're horrible sounds, and they do stay vividly with you. In Perisic's case, I don't know. At 34 years old, even if it's 6 months, it's still what you're saying is in March it will be mended. Perhaps it will be mended, but then you've got to think he's got to get himself back into the match. It's similar sort of fashion that we've got to wait for with Bentancur in the next month or so. He's now back in training, but we still have to wait for him to see when he goes with a group how he trains, how his knee responds in match situation, psychological part of it. Was he ready to be impacted in the match? There's all these factors that you just don't know how it's going to unfold, and it's just really bad to lose a player that finally I felt had a purpose in this team and in this squad, and to do so in the week leading up to the derby is pretty rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Lee, Perisic, we all looked at him as very underwhelming last season, but this season it's kind of finding a niche, finding a role. I'm gonna miss this niche.
Gone silent, mate.
So
And then when I realised that I'm on mute and I look like a right twonk, then I start turning it off and start speaking.
We've all done it, Lee.
Oh no, I'm on calls all day during work, so I'm always doing it, double muting myself. Yeah, I mean it's a shame, right? It's a shame for him. Let's just hope he can get back to some kind of form when he does come back. As he, you say he's 34 years old, so he might even look at it and go, do you know what? Maybe it's time to have a rest or something like that. You don't know, but yeah, it's a shame, and the problem is, personally, my opinion is that we never really saw the best out of Perisic in the position that he was played last season. The few times that he has played this season in his normal role, which is out on the wing, I think he's shown us some of the spark that he's got and some of what he brings to the team. And it's just unfortunate now that he's got an injury and he's not going to be able to keep going forward with that. Because the thing is, I think he offers something different than the likes of Solomon, right? He's not running at people at 100 miles an hour, and he's probably one of the best crossers in out on the left. So, it was a, as we saw with the last match, it was a different option when the options are not going your way. So yeah, I think it's going to be a loss. We have got back up there, but it now leaves us in another position that one more injury to one of the other guys, and then we're even shorter. And it's just like, I think short term we can deal with it, but again, long term it might be another thing that we have to look at in January, depending on how he comes out of his surgery and what's needed there to cover that position. Because what I don't want, and again, this is everyone's opinion, if we stick with how we're playing right now and how we're setting up, then really you don't want to have to be taking the likes of Sonny and putting him back out on the left, because we can see that he looks like he's going to be more productive in the middle and then bringing Rishi back in. But
it will open up an opportunity though for Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And obviously Brian Hill's returning from injury. So I know will probably have a fit listening to me talking about Brian Hill, but he is, numerically speaking, at the very least. He's going to be there in the squad. And like I said, Brennan Johnson, for me right now, will probably be the next one in line to occupy that left-hand side. Or we could revert back, like you said, Son back out on the left and Richarlison through the middle. That's another option. I'm not saying that's the one we've got to go for. I'm just saying these are the options right now, at least until January.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ellie, Perisic is gone.
I know. I was just thinking of one other option, but you guys might not like it, right? Because you don't.
Oh, don't say Højbjerg. No, don't say Højbjerg.
No. Højbjerg is a midfielder, isn't he? So no, I'm not going to go there. Right. Contrary to belief, I don't always mention Højbjerg. Right. Right. So the other option we have, right, is to play Udogie up as a winger and have Davies as a left back. That's the only thing I can think of. Apart from putting Johnson on that side, because he is very versatile and he can play right or left. So we've got options. Whether Ange Postecoglou wants to trust Davies, that's another question. Yeah, we've seen what he's like. He's like a 6 out of 10, isn't he? So you don't really want a 6 out of 10 in your back line. So I would go for the Johnson option, right? And keep your Doji, because your Doji is fabulous at pressing. We've seen it already. I think he's brilliant. But losing Perisic, because he puts it on the money, yeah? And Richarlison, you need to put it on the money, because he's not scoring with his feet very soon, is he? We haven't seen him score with his feet yet. It's all with his head. So
Yeah, it's true.
the only thing I would do now is I would work on Johnson's crossing, because he's going to get a lot of the ball, and he's going to get a rude awakening in the team, isn't he? Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't produce, right, everybody's going to be thinking, why did we waste this money on him? You know, because I've heard a lot of rumours and a lot of people talking that his passing is not on point. So if his passing is not on point, I've not seen him with his crossing, because he usually cuts in and has a shot, doesn't he? Or he does a run. So he'll have to learn very quickly that role, because he's more or less used to playing on the right, I believe. But if he's going to play on the left, we have to start getting him up to speed. Yeah, so the one thing he's got is pace. That's on his side, yeah? And he can score a goal. He scored 8, I think, last season, or 11 in all competitions. So it's not that bad a return for a winger, you know. So I'm looking forward to. It's quite an interesting period now, because we've got different options. We're going to see different players. I think Ange is going to be like very sad that he's lost Perisic as well, because an experienced player off the bench is always handy, isn't it? And the one that puts it on the money, that's a good secret weapon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know, guys? You know what I have read today a lot in the comments of the video I did this afternoon on the Perisic injury.
Yeah.
And Antonio's just now mentioned it as well, like about playing Kulu on the left hand side, which is where essentially he got his goal from
Yeah.
against Sheffield United. Perhaps playing him on the left hand side and played Brennan Johnson on the right hand side. I don't know, man. I mean, I've only ever really seen Kulu play on the right hand side. I've not really seen him play on the left. I mean, I saw the highlights of the Sheffield
I
United
think it
game,
would
but
say. I think it would stay the other way around, Iggy, because I think
yeah,
what Ange likes is their wingers or those type of players to be able to cut inwards onto their
right.
better foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's generally how he plays. So for me, for consistency on Sunday, I would say Solomon, Kulu, Son would probably be the consistent starters, and then bring Johnson on. But in terms of our depth, then maybe just stick Johnson out there. Yeah, but as you say, we've got cover for the time being until such time that we get more injuries, because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If it does, it's going to cock it up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if that happens, we can just stick Højbjerg out. That's fine.
Højbjerg's going to get a look in that London derby if everything's going wrong. He's going to
The
get
thing is
on
that
again.
our midfield's playing really well, Ellie, so it's hard for Højbjerg to get into the team
Oh,
right now.
yeah,
I'm not
he
saying
won't get in the
it can't
first
happen.
11.
It can't happen further down the line. I'm sure there'll be space and there'll be minutes for
Yeah.
everyone at some point. But
Yeah,
right now, you
he's
can't.
taking second fiddle now,
You
which
can't.
is justified, because the other three are better
Yeah,
footballers.
yeah,
They
I
are.
agree. Yeah, has to be
Goes
said.
without say.
Yep, yep.
Oh, goal for Napoli. Oh, yes.
They won,
Napoli
yeah.
scored.
Yeah.
They were 1-0 up.
Braga
They're
scored a
2-0 up
beautiful
now.
goal to equalize, and then an own goal.
Oh, right.
Oh, my goodness.
Right at the end.
If you have not seen this goal, this fourth Bayern Munich goal, wonder what the troubles are at United. Oh my God, I've never seen such lazy defending in all my life.
I know. They highlighted it on
What
Match of
the
the Day.
I haven't seen the goals, but I mean I've been Onana's getting absolutely smashed online. Like he's getting absolutely killed for one of the goals he conceded.
Just trotted past him like he wasn't there anyway. Yeah,
yes, night and day between in Milan.
Harry Maguire on there, he wouldn't let that happen. He'd scored the goal himself.
So, we talked about Perisic being gone. Another big news. I tell you, being a Spurs content creator, you always have news. You always have news. The Q&A was yesterday, and still trying to get invited, but they have a panel that selects people, and they didn't pick them. I don't think they'll pick anybody from our channel. But
Incredibly, we did apply,
No.
but none of me, JP, or Stel, none of us got selected. Incredibly.
Yeah.
it's shocker.
They picked your
Um,
Twitter accounts, I'm telling you.
but there were some interesting questions that were posed to Daniel Levy, and one of the questions was this. I'll read it. It says Spurs chairman Daniel Levy on Mourinho and Conte. Poor Nuno. It's like Nuno never happened. But he says, maybe you'll be surprised by my answer, but I want to win as much as everybody else. But the frustration of not winning and the pressure from maybe some players and from a large element of the fan base that we need to win, we need to spend money, we need to have a big manager, we need to have a big name, and it affected me. I had gone through a period where we almost won with Mauricio. We went through some very good times. We didn't quite get there, but we came very close, and we had a change in strategy. The strategy was, let's bring in a trophy manager. We did it twice, and look, you have to learn from your mistakes. They are great managers, but maybe not for this club. For what we want to play in a certain way, and if that means it takes a little bit longer to win, maybe it's the right thing for us. That's why bringing Ange in was, from my point of view, the right decision. So he goes on to say, Daniel Levy was asked if it was an easy decision to appoint Ange Postecoglou. It was easy because Ange is a normal bloke. It was wonderful to have conversation where we could talk about anything. He was very direct, very honest, and I wanted someone who tells it how it is. Yes, the club needed to go back to its roots. And I have to say, it's a breath of fresh air. Okay, Daniel. I will quickly say this. I had a good laugh. Actually, I saw the interview, and then reading it. Had a good laugh. A good laugh because um, we we know the reason why those two managers didn't work out. You know, he said we made mistakes, but he could have, in my opinion, could have gone deeper in the sense of, you know, we really, in the sense, those two managers didn't fit my personality and how I back my managers and what I expect. You know, he should take really most of the heat. But the biggest thing for me is that he mentioned Pochettino. All he had to simply do is believe Pochettino, right? He wasn't that trophy manager. Support him in rebuilding, doing the rebuild. You know, right? He talked about uh, the painful rebuild. You know, right after Champions League that we had to go through. That's all he had to do. Simply all he had to do. And of course, he didn't have a plan. He got two trophy managers, as he says, and did not know the severity of getting these guys in regards to what they expect. And so for me, it's 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 now one of many mistakes you have done in the 23 years that you have owned this club. And then the second thing is, right now, it seems like a fresher breath of air. And I hope it doesn't get to this point. Like I said, I always hope for the best for the club. But if it gets to the point, there's a breaking point for Ange, right? If he tells it like it is, it will be no different from Jose, Poch, and Conte. If he tells it like it is. And that's all I'm going to say. You saw the comments. Iggy, your opinion?
What can I say about this guy, man? Because at the end of the day, I mean, I haven't read everything because I know what I'm like. I will listen to it and I'll find myself getting pissed off just listening to it. This is the same guy that sacked the manager 6 days before a final. You know, people forget. So, you know, did anyone ask him about that? Why was it necessary to do that? And what was the thinking behind doing that? And then appointing Ryan Mason to take that final. Did anyone even put him under a bit of pressure
Iggy,
to answer that question?
Iggy, I forgot to mention that in that statement, he never mentions trophies.
No.
He always says the football that we want.
Yeah, he clearly seems to like the growing phase. Like, you know, when Pochettino picked up, came to Spurs and we went for this journey. It seems to me that he wants that same sort of journey happening with Ange Postecoglou. Now, that's absolutely fine. The rebuild, I'm absolutely fine with all of that. But what is the outcome? What is the outcome goal? What is the general goal? At any point was there any talks of saying we want to win the Carabao or the FA Cup within 3 years? We want to challenge it. We want to be challenging for the league in 5 years. Was there any kind of conversations being had about that? Because in that forum, if that conversation or those words weren't stated, I find they're absolutely pointless to even go and listen to it. Because what is the outcome of elite sport? What is the aim of elite sport? To compete, right? At the very minimum. I'm not saying you have to win because everybody wants to win that one trophy. At the end of the day, there's one FA Cup, one Carabao Cup, one league. Everyone wants to win that. I'm keeping it domestic rather than just saying Europe as well. But essentially, there's only one trophy and 5-6 teams maybe challenge for it every year, all three of them. So, and when you got this Man City right now, but what I'm saying is at least compete, be in a situation where you see growth every year, not just financially, not just with the events that you got going on, not because of COVID, not because of this or that, the other, but to say, look, to categorically open your mouth and say our goal is within 3 years to be absolutely challenging for Carabao and FA Cup, and within 5 years to challenge for the league. The reason why they'll never say that because they don't want to be held accountable and say, you made us promises that you couldn't keep. So which is why we skirt around it and we talk about all this other stuff and everyone's applauding all these wonderful words that he says. Listen, man, the guy's a good speaker, man. He's not, he can deliver a speech. We all know that. We see it. But where were the questions that I really wanted answering? I didn't hear it. I didn't come across any. I don't know if you. Like I said, I haven't read the whole transcript because, like I said, I find myself getting annoyed listening to the same BS constantly. But I don't want to, go into it. I don't want to go two-footed like I always do with him because it takes me away of any positivity that I have towards the team and the moment that we're in right now. It's always subject to change. Right now, I'd rather focus on the team and the manager. That's where I'm at with it, guys. I don't know what you guys think.
Lee?
I'm one for not dwelling on the past because I mean I know he's come out and said, basically said we made a mistake by trying to basically quick fix by getting in a couple of trophy managers, and it's not the right way of doing things. I think it's also a case of he's probably picked people that had that clashed with his own personality as well, which doesn't help the situation. Because then you can't come in and say, well, Ange tells it like it is. He tells you what he wants and blah, blah, blah. Because I'm sure Conte and Mourinho did that as well.
Exactly the same, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I would have had more respect for him if he had just turned up and said, look, guys, we're not going to dwell on the past, blah, blah, blah. This is what we want to do. This is why I've brought Ange in.
This
is
right
what
here
we want to challenge.
The happy Catholic PR exercise.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear that.
and then him take questions about how we're going to get there, what we're going to do, than spending 20 minutes talking about irrelevant stuff in the past, to be quite honest with you. And as soon as I see that's the kind of questions are answered, I'm just, you know what, I don't want to hear it. I don't need you to tell me that. We can see that from a mile off. So
you see, everyone sees Tony and have highlighted the saying, you know, agenda is a happy clappers exercise, and that's what in my mind I thought that would be, and that's why I'm not going to sit for an hour and a half where it's just a happy. There's no hard hitting questions. There's no. I just can't do it. It just puts me in a bad vibe, and I don't want to entertain it. And like I said, the whole point of that fans forum is to ask those difficult questions. Is to ask those hard hitting questions. I'm not saying it's got to all be about that, but at least say, look, what is the plan in regards to winning trophies at White Hart Lane? We were a known club to do that. You know, especially in the cup competitions. Why are we moving away with that? And even more to the point, why are we not even talking about it? Why is no one making a statement to say that this club is going to be challenging for trophies within 3-5 year gap? Why are we not doing that? And why
do you think that?
I don't know, man.
Do you think the questions that were asked would? I mean, I haven't watched it either. I don't want to know what's happened in the past, so I'm not going to waste my time. But do you think that the questions were also vetted?
100%.
I'm just like that's the reason why they selectively didn't pick Stel, because what a twat that guy. Oh, hello, Stel.
I knew Stel was going to come on. He's gone.
No, I can't sit through a 90-minute happy clapping PR. Bollocks. I just can't do it. I just can't bring myself to do it because it puts me in a bad vibe, and I knew it would be that, and the fact that Tony and Has in the comments have confirmed that, and I don't know, I'm sure Stel's got something to say about that as well, but exactly. So I don't I'm sure he would have watched it, and I listen, I know, like, we are a channel that we just don't stand for his BS, and we've openly declared that we and until I see something different, I'm always going to be Livy out. But there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing I can take away from yesterday, or me to go and watch it to say come away with it thinking, actually, do you know what? There was talk about trophies. I got this wrong. It's not going to be about that. And that's all I can say. I can feel myself getting in a shitty mood just talking about it. So. Yeah, I don't know, man. You guys take the floor with this one. I don't know what more to say on the subject.
I just want to add, right? So he's got 2 world-class managers, right, who have called him out, actually slated him. One who had left and slated him because he sacked him 6 days before the final. He doesn't even give his manager the honour of leading his team out when he's got them to Wembley. This is the sort of man we're talking about. And then Conte calls the club out, calls him out, and then he has to go because he hasn't got nowhere to go after that rant that he did. Right? So I would never watch that, what they're saying, because it's all vetted. You know, they've picked the people, they've checked their Twitter accounts that they haven't got purple and gold or Levy out or anything. Exactly. Levy. They're not going to do it, are they? So what's the point? It's just a PR exercise. The only thing that I could take from goodness from it is Ange Postecoglou's honesty, you know. But even him, I saw he said that we have to be challenging that's
going to be the collision course right there. When they eventually get to that point, that he will don't listen. This guy's an Aussie Greek. That he won't be any different to what Jose and Conte is when it comes to dropping truth bombs. They will get to that collision course when Ange sees what he needs to see, and then we'll see then.
Yeah. Because he's only, 2 or 3 months into the job?
Yeah.
Right? And everything's going smoothly at the moment. When it starts going wrong, and we lose matches, that's when the proof of the pudding's going to come in, you know.
It's not even that, Ellie. I
And
think
also
it's
when the January sales, the January market comes open,
yeah.
right? What is Daniel Levy going to do for him then? And the next one,
Ellie, I just think it's going to get to a point where Andrew's going to take us as far as he can, and then he's going to go, right, I need this now to take us to the next level. And it's that level that we're talking about is where they're going to come unstuck.
yeah.
Anyway, I'll say no more,
And
man.
it's
That
on
just
rinse
sounds
and
so
repeat.
negative.
Unleash,
It's
Iggy
on
Unleash.
rinse and repeat.
I don't want to be
CQ.
negative, Mari. I don't want to be negative. We're going through such a really good spell with the team, and to be talking about this prick, it just does my head in, man.
We had to because it was last night, and all the clips, all the
I read it.
I know it's hard to avoid it. That Perisic get injured, it's kind of sour. Though I'm still excited about the game, and we're gonna talk about the game. But we got CQ, but still to come in. We'll go to CQ. Do you need me to post the comments, the BS? Both of them. This one I actually laughed at because tell it like it is. I'm like, didn't Conte tell like it is? And you find him. And Jose tell like it is. Oh, I'm gonna play by players, and you find him 6 days before the Carabao Cup. But maybe we're delusional. You know, maybe Edge is the first match we tell it like it is. But CQ, what are your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, hello, knuckleheads and a queen. I watched the entire thing just because, you know, I feel like I want to know what was said directly as it's said before like I comment on it. So I watched it. I may or may not have fast forwarded through some parts of it that I just felt like were PR filler fluff that just got me kind of like, okay, there's no point. They're not going to say anything that's useful. But I will say this. I think that everybody knows that I'm Levy out and Ninik out. I've talked about it several times. I've associated myself with this channel partially because, you know, I think that we have a very honest and truthful dialogue about all of that. But I think that we have to be realistic about the fact that, of course, you know, he wasn't going to, or the club, I should say, wasn't going to have Levy out, Enoch out, like people that were going to be at the event. Of course, that wasn't going to happen, right? I think that the questions that were asked were, of course, they were vetted. They did have like a kind of some people ask questions at the end, like a Q&A session at the very end for the last like 30 minutes that were like supposedly unprepared questions ahead of time. I think that those questions were a little bit more, I would say, a little bit like a little harder, you know, and putting their feet to the fire a little bit more. I actually think that although we didn't get somebody asking a question of like, why haven't you had, you know, a trophy in 20 years? Why did you, you know, why didn't you sack, you know, why did you sack a manager like a few days before a final? Like nothing like that. But overall, I think they did touch on some subjects, maybe not hard enough, but some subjects that we did want answers to. Like, do you prioritize the cups? Or what are you going to do to prioritize the cups? Questions about the ticket prices. Like they were trying to ask those questions. They were just not asking it in a particularly hard-hitting or combative tone or way. Okay. So I want to be fair in the sense of addressing the fact that I do feel like the fans that were there were trying to ask some questions that weren't just happy clapping questions. Okay. That being said, you know, I think that Levy, of course, did not acknowledge enough his mistakes and where he came into play this entire time and why we haven't won a trophy, or that is a strong priority to the club, or, you know, hit the part he played in it. But I don't think that's something that we realistically are ever going to get. At least he acknowledges that that he was under pressure, okay, which he was. And I do think that this with the appointment of Ange and the kind of football that we're playing right now, and the very young players, and you know, people like Dyer being left out, you know, and those kind of things, I do think that this is different in a lot of ways from what we experienced in the past, from the Conte and Jose eras. It's not different enough for me, because until you actually offload all of the dead weight, I don't really believe that this is a different iteration of anything. But I think that there are things that we can latch onto that are different from the past. And maybe Ange is the right person for us, because he is very different from Conte and Jose. So my point of all of this is that there are some things that we're never going to change. And what I mean by that is Levy is not going to leave this season. Maybe he'll leave in future seasons, but Levy is not going to change this season. We can continue to protest. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think we should continue to have him, you know, like wish for him to be gone and talk that he should be gone. But that realistically is not going to happen this season. I do think that fans are gassing up Ange too much, because it's still very early days. And in order to gas up Ange, we are putting down serial winning managers that we've had that I do believe would have been successful at the club had they been backed. But this is the Ange era. And I think that instead of focusing on the past, we need to focus on this current era and what's happening at our club right now.
Yeah, well put. Well put. You know, I mean, what's past is past. I just think he half-assed it in regards to why it failed, because he knows he's the man on top. But yeah, no, you hit it right on the money. And now our hope is, and who posted this? William posted this. And this is my feeling. Exactly. I like Ange. I really do. I just suffer from post-traumatic leaving disorder because of the evidence. I just know how it ends. Like he says, when it comes time, the testing time to really back the manager, right? This is beyond Champions League qualification, but to really back the manager, to be able to go over the hurdle to get trophies, he's not going to do it. He is not going to do it. And I hope it changed, but there's only one man that could change Daniel Levy, and that's Daniel Levy. That is Daniel Levy. Still, I know you must be biting at the lip to say something. Want to talk about Perisic injury or the comments?
Where do you want me to start? You pick. I don't mind. I come in peace. I come in peace.
We'll talk about the Perisic injury when we talk about the North London derby, because it's going to really be an effect. But we'll talk about Lee. Unleash.
Well, first of all these pussy-ho Arsenal fans in the comments saying that they're going to smoke Tottenham on Sunday. No, you're not. You're not going to smoke us. You might win. We're not going to get smoked, right? That's ridiculous. You get a grip. You played a B-Tech Dutch team who sold their two best players in the summer. Get real. PSV weren't good tonight at all. And I said they'd win 3-0 Arsenal, so 4-0 I wasn't far off. Listen, Daniel Levy, right? Everything he said in that fan forum was the biggest load of bollocks you could imagine. The event was all staged in his comfort zone. All the people invited, they cherry-picked. Everything was staged to make him look good and to try and repair the damage that he created. He created this reputation with the fans. He's created this reputation with the media and ex-players, right? Everything he said I could break down. He talked about how the ticket prices, if they had other sources of income, they wouldn't have to put the prices up. Oh, really? So you've got money for the new skyscraper, the cinema, the hotel, the Formula One track. You've got the money for that, but we need other sources of income for everything else. Okay. He says, I made mistakes because the pressure got to me. It got to me, he said. So all these frauds out there that slag off people like Brian Daigle, me, and everyone else who protests, we got to him. Who else is he talking about? He said it got to me. Who got to him? Who broke Daniel to the point of where he made all these irrational decisions for 4 years? It was us. We did it. So people that say, oh, he doesn't care, he doesn't listen. Really? The guy was broken at the end of last season. The fact his wife had to stroke his hand to say, it will be okay, Daniel. The guy was broken last year. And the fact he admitted that bad decisions he made is because the situation got to him. My man, you earn £3.5 million a year. For 4 years, you couldn't do your job because of the pressure. Step down. Step down from your job, man. Because if I have one bad day, I get it. If I have 2 bad days, I get it even harder. If I have a bad month, I don't think I can do my job. I think I'm done. I think, someone had the cheek to message me today and say, oh, what, Daniel's not allowed to make mistakes? I said, what, for 23 years? No, he's not. I'm not. So, the pressure got to me. He says that Conte and Jose, they're good managers, but they don't quite fit Tottenham. The reason they're not good managers is because you sacked him before a cup final. No one told you to sack him before. You did that. And then he wants to call out Jose. I mean, he says, Ange is a breath of fresh air. Yeah, because Ange isn't bigger than you. Conte and Mourinho were bigger than you. Ange and Conte are far bigger than you, Daniel Levy. Ange ain't bigger than you. Maybe in size he is. But in stature of a manager, Jose and Conte, they dick all over Daniel Levy. Jose Mourinho's got the Jose sexuals. Wherever he goes, they follow him. He's got like millions and millions of people that support the club wherever he goes. If he goes to Roma, they support Roma. If he comes to Tottenham, they support Tottenham. If he went and managed, I don't know, Rochdale, they'd all go and support Rochdale. They're bigger than Daniel Levy. That's why Ange is a breath of fresh air, because Ange is below Levy. So for him, it's like, oh, the pressure's off here. He's not, I'd have to worry about this one. He even tried to make a joke about the red. I told Maddison, you can't bring your red car to Tottenham Hotspur. I've told him. Oh, yeah, but if someone gives you £20 million, you'll put red all over the fucking kits, won't you, Daniel? Yeah, that's all right. he tried to make a joke, but he's got red on the kit, like this guy. But listen, the bit that did it for me, the killer line, and it sucked all the fans in, and they all love Daniel now. This was the killer moment when he said, this was on a level with Coy's Daniel Coy's, whatever the way he ended that speech last year when he used the word Coy's, right? And everyone laughed at him. When he said, we've got our Tottenham back.
Oh, that was the worst line. That was the worst line.
The reason it's so horrendous, the audacity of this man to say, we've got our Tottenham back. Who took it away, Daniel? Who took it away? You took it away.
Yeah,
I don't know what's worse.
I don't know what's worse.
I don't know what's worse. Levy saying that or still saying I come in peace.
Daniel Levy just look at the end of the day, okay, he's trying to patch up what he's done. He's trying to create a better image for himself. He's trying to connect with the fans, but I just don't buy it, man. I don't buy it. For me, I just smell bullshit. It's fake, it's scripted, it's politics, it's PR, it's corporate. I don't like it. I didn't feel anything humane. I didn't feel like when Ange speaks, I feel a human being talking to me. When Ange speaks, I feel there's a human there. I feel a genuine person talking. When Daniel talks, I'm like, bollocks. It's like a robot, like AI. It could be an AI model of Daniel Levy. You wouldn't know the difference. Yeah. Look, fair play, Daniel. You're being advised what to do. it's like puppets on strings. But for me, it doesn't wash, man. Until I see Ange properly back for 3-4 years and we go on to try and win proper trophies because we've got a squad, not a team, then I might change my mind. But that was just another.
Estelle,
What,
don't you
do you
guys?
know what, Cube, do you know what? Just one thing's popped
Okay.
in my head. I need to get it off, otherwise I'll forget. And then
Yeah,
the
go
floor's
ahead,
yours.
go ahead.
What I will say is this. He knows he can't go anywhere now. The fact he's doing this knows because he's under pressure. He knows the fans have put him under pressure, and certain fans like me aren't going anywhere. We're not going away. You will always be under pressure from now on because we, and I'm going to quote my friend Matt Coppin, who's often in the comments. He said this to me today. He said, Stell, we're dining at the top table now. They wanted us to go to the European Super League and we win nothing, right? We've got this stadium. We've got this money. Spurs are at the top table now. You can't hide, Daniel. Either dine at the top table or leave because we're at the top table now. He has to dine at the top table. He's got to order steak and lobster, not cans of tuna and baked beans, because that's not where we are now. So that's my take on it, man. That's how I look at it. We've got our Tottenham back. Yeah.
That was the
Drive
worst
a
time.
Ferrari and shop in Audi. That's what you're trying to say.
So
Why
I
didn't
was
you
going to
say
ask
we-
Stell.
why
I was
didn't you
going to
say
say,
we've got our time?
didn't you feel like watching when you were watching that? Didn't you feel like it was like he was hiding behind Ange a little bit? It feels like he hides behind managers. Like he's like, look at this new shiny manager. Like every time it's like, look, I gave you Jose, who's a serial winner. Ooh, let him talk. You know, and then when he crashes and burns, then it's Jose. He was the problem.
I don't
and
think
then
he's
with
a people
Ange,
person.
I feel like it happened with Conte, and then now with Ange, it feels similar in the sense that I know that, you know, Ange is a very different kind of manager, and I do think that part of it is different, but he is also like hiding behind Ange. As far as like this Q&A, I felt like he was like, well, look, you know, and I, you know, hired Ange, and, you know, wow, Ange is such a breath of fresh air, you know, and like, look how Ange is different and how I'm on the same page with Ange, you know, like when he felt like he was under pressure at all, he kept looking at Ange and being like, look at Ange. I should get credit for hiring this guy.
Because Cubed, when he went to Cambridge University, he sat there, his body was open, he had a conversation, because these are his people. This is his world. Put him in the real world of his real customers, and even then they were selected. He's not comfortable. The customers that he's got, he doesn't relate to them. He has no connection with the real customers, us. He can't connect with us. We're not, you know, Mensa, graduate, 200 IQ, owning these corporate globalistic powerhouses. We're not. That's his world. This here is real, but this is where the pressure's coming from, and he can't relate to it because he's not. His world is not one of emotion, of passion, of what football really is about. It is emotion and passion. Okay. His one is pie charts and spreadsheets, but we had to charge you more because we don't have any other money, mate. Are you taking the piss? Are you actually? But that's
COVID hit and all of that.
Any other businessman would say, "But Daniel's right." But they're his friends. That's where he gets his advice from. He doesn't get advice from people like us. Donna Cullen, have you seen her? She's like a wet blanket, man. There's no emotion with that. Her either. They're all the same. So. Of course he hides behind Ange because Ange connects with us. You know, I said it like 5 minutes ago. When Ange speaks, I feel there's a human there. I feel there's a soul. I feel there's a heart beating. Like he would genuinely cry if we lost a cup final, I think, Ange. Like he would feel it. Levy would be, made some good money, good run, good cup run, you know, money came in, you know, it's good business, you know.
And isn't that the issue with having cherry picked people there, right? Because anyone with half a brain cell, especially about the ticket price thing, would say, you know, stand up and give it. Well, Daniel, in the grand scheme of things, over a year, you know, you're talking about putting ticket prices up, but that only generates what, you know, an additional £3 million. That's not even paying for Romero's right foot. So what are you using it for in the first place? What is your? It's not gaining you much out of anything. Not in the grand scheme of putting this squad together. But that's the questions that don't get asked, right? It's just a case of, well, here's a reason, here's why we're doing it, and no one's going to question it because I've told you that's why we're doing it, and let's let it lie there, gone, simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fans did try to ask about the ticket prices. I think there was two questions, but the difference is that because these are a type of fan, right? So I'm not slagging off the fans, okay? But I'm just saying that this is a type of fan, right? That is not going to ask it in a very hard-hitting way. What I mean by that is actually come with specific numbers, and basically they're asking the question, but they're just kind of just brushing the surface, just scratching the surface of the question. I respect that they asked the question, okay? However, they just don't have enough information, or they're not someone who is wanting to put Levy's feet to the fire enough to ask the question in a way that is really hard hitting.
Yeah.
They're moderates, Cube. They're moderates. They're the way I look at Spurs is this: you've got 5% of the fan base that are proper diehard Levy out, Enoch out. I just want them gone. Then you've got another 5% that are diehard. No, we love Enoch, Levy. They're the best thing ever done. Ever say a bad word. Then you've got this huge, massive 90% in the middle that aren't Levy out, but they're not Levy in. They're just frustrated, but they won't do anything about it. So they sit on the fence, and in the end, they cripple the whole club because they do nothing, but they're the vast majority. So they cause the club to be in a stalemate because without realizing it, they're protecting him. And they're the fans that ask that question. So they want to ask him, they want to say, Daniel, listen, I can't afford to take 2 kids and my wife to Spurs. It's 300 quid now, dude. Can you relate to that? But they want to say it. But as they say it, they realize, I don't want anyone in this room to think that I don't support Tottenham if I say that. I don't want anyone to call me negative. I don't want anyone to not invite me back. So they sit on the fence and they play it safe to Cube. So you're right. They do ask the right questions. But like, I think the word you used was, they don't say it like with...
No. Let me tell you what the attitude. Let me tell you what the attitude is, okay? Because a lot of the fans nowadays, especially at Spurs, all right, they're middle class. Let's be honest. And I've got no issue with middle class people. I'm just telling you how I see it. A lot of them at that stadium today are middle class people. So their attitude is very easy. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm middle class.
Hang on. All right, let me tell you what the attitude is there. The attitude is, if you can't afford it, tough shit. That's it. That's the attitude. If you cannot afford to go to the match, tough shit. Go and watch non-league football. I'm not saying that's my attitude. I'm telling you that's the attitude that I perceive whenever I go to the stadium. If you can't take your kids to the stadium, then I'm sorry. It's your problem, not mine. That is the consensus attitude towards the people that cannot afford to bring their kids to the stadium regularly or whatever else. And also, in regards to, and maybe Cube can answer me that question, because I failed. I don't want to watch it because the whole forum thing, because it would just piss me off hearing the same old. Was there any hard hitting questions in regards to what the plan is to winning trophies or bringing trophies to White Hart Lane within the next 3 to 5 years? Because if they don't ask that, or even worse, don't answer it, for me the whole thing is a waste of time. Because what's the point of elite sport if it's not to bring trophies home, or at least attempt?
There was a question around cups and prioritizing cup games but prioritizing cup games to bring trophies. The question was presented. We haven't won a trophy in a while, and and then the question related to prioritizing cup games. So there was, again, is a scratching of the surface, So my point is that, again, I don't want to drag all these fans and stuff, because I think that their head is in the right place as far as the questions they have or what they're frustrated with. But it's just they're just not willing to just put it all out there. And maybe I'm just different because, I'm, American, and I come from Los Angeles, and Dodgers and Lakers are serial winning teams that I support and all that. So I'm just willing to be a lot more that's not okay. let me ask the hard-hitting question about it, and presented in a pretty hard-hitting way. But it's just not presented that way. So it allows the opportunity for someone like Levy to sort of hide a little bit and give the packaged PR answer, and not look like he's giving it as much, of that PR package answer.
Cube, he's a fraud. Do you know the last time he did this fan forum type thing? Do you know the last time he did it?
6 years ago.
Who was the manager?
2016.
Pochettino.
Right.
We was at the old stadium.
When the football was good.
Yeah.
He only does it when the feel good factor is there. This man is a con man. I'm convinced.
These fan forums should be done at least once a year, man. At the end
With
of the
every
season,
manager, with Mourinho, with Conte, with Stellini, with Mason, every manager.
Or just before the beginning of the new season, or at the end, like an AGM at the end of the season. It should always be done once a year. Is to do it every 6 years, and like you said, 6 years ago when we was on the verge of, when we was at European Cup final, it was 2019. He said it at the old stadium. So how can you do this every 6 years? How much has happened in the 6 years?
We're gonna get to the question at hand, but big up to Matt.
Big up, Matt.
And has given Levy the 11-hour stay of execution, and has brought him another few years on the gravy train. Wonderful post, but I don't know, because in regards to the fans, there are some fans who will always be gullible and sap it up. They will soup it up, as we say in the States. They'll take that bread and just soak up whatever Levy and Enoch is dishing out. And for me, I wish that was the case, but I just think as long as he's here, he is always going to find people who happy clap like seals and support what he is cooking or what he's selling. But big up, Matt. Thank you for the super chat.
Murray, can I just say one positive thing? Believe it or not, I will at least give him some little bit of respect for trying, because we do have a trumpet that gets the fans going and starts the Glory Glory Tottenham Hotspur song before kickoff. We do have the drummer back in the stands who's got the fans going throughout the game. We do have a different tune that when the players come on the pitch now, is something that we can sing to. Before it was this dramatic kind of Star Warsy music. And he has done another fan forum, and the players are doing questions and answers with the fans, and then they go on YouTube or the Spurs platforms, and there is more engagement. That's what I'm trying to say. They have upped their gaming engagement, right? So I will give them some props for that. I'm not just going to completely say it's all shit, because there are some things that they've done recently that I think are good, actually, especially the way the atmosphere in the stadium's changed. I think the club and the fans somehow found a way of doing this. So,
I agree with you, Stel. Like, that little bit of credit that we want to give him, like, we should give him for that, as well as, I mean, it's still early doors, but the appointment of Ange, although we don't know how that's going to play out, or, I mean, some of us kind of suspect how it's going to play out, but, he is different from the previous two managers. And I will give him credit in acknowledging that even if it ends up ending as a complete clusterfuck mess, and he did kind of change he shifted the kind of manager that he was appointing, because the last couple, clearly, whether it was because of him, which I do think it was because of Levy, that was a problem in that, but at least after that didn't work, he did, and the fans were talking about, oh, we want attacking football and everything like that. That's not addressing the problem, but since the fans did ask for that, he did hire an attacking football manager.
Yeah.
I think Ryan Mason's probably had some influence in that as well, because if you listen to Ryan Mason's press interviews the last 4 or 5 games, he kept saying we need to go back to what we were. Like, we need to be the club that Ryan Mason kept talking about how the club's lost its way. So, and clearly Daniel Levy absolutely loves Ryan Mason. I'm sure he straps him up in leather and he whips him in the dungeon. They have all sorts of fun together, them two. But how else does he get the job every time someone gets sacked? There's got to be some kind of
He's
other
an
motive, right?
interim coach in waiting. He's an interim coach in waiting.
I do think Ryan Mason's probably one person of many that have advised him and said that, Daniel, you need to get some good football going at this club. You need to think carefully about next manager. And you know what? If he listened, fair play.
You know what though? It's not rocket science, is it? To want to play attractive football. Come on.
Well, Ellie,
I could tell him that. Why are you playing this defensive football, Daniel, when we're noted for our attacking play? Oh my God.
Well, Ellie,
you need to get in his dungeon, Ellie. You need to get in that Levy dungeon with the whips and the chains.
One other thing. Oh, go ahead, Mari.
Oh no, I wanted to start with Ellie with the North London preview. I'm like, but if we're still on Levy,
can I just say one last thing about the Q&A? The people that went to the Q&A, some of them were fielding a lot of abuse on Twitter and online for going to the Q&A, the fan forum. And I just want to say that although I am Levy Enoch out, I don't believe in abusing fans online or otherwise because they went to it. Because they wanted to hear out what they were saying, because they wanted to see Sonny and Ange and hear what they said. You know what I mean? Like, I don't condone that. And I don't think that was right to like abuse some of these fans for going to it and for being invited to it. And they did, like I said already, even though they didn't ask it in the way that I maybe would have asked it, or maybe Stell would have asked some of the questions, they did touch on the points as far as cup games, academy. They asked about academy and whether or not that they see the academy as being a place for, you know, young players to filter into the first team or to sell the players, you know, as a business. So they touched on the different subject matters or topics that are important to us as Levy outers, as a whole, as a fan base on a whole, as anybody that's frustrated. They just, the way that they asked it was just not in a, you know, in a way that we would ask it.
Yeah. So now we talked about the Perisic injury, which is a huge blow. We talked about the Levy Q&A. But the good news is we're still undefeated. We play our North London rivals. They're also undefeated. And we go to a place that we haven't won since 2010, since I last saw Kabul score that goal for us for a 3-2 victory. Ellie, I always say you're one of our cheerleaders of the fan base. We're going in there. We're going to plunder. We're going to win 3-0 on the way on the route to a Premier League title. I mean, come on, let's soak it up. Ellie, I'll start with you.
I'm sort of quietly optimistic because we've got a lot of very good players, right? And we do press well. If we can put them off their passing game, because to tell you the truth, they are a better footballing side than us, regardless. On the whole, their passing game is fabulous, right? And I know they haven't hit the heights yet, but tonight I was watching them, and all of them are very comfortable on the ball. So we have to knock them off their game and then start playing our game. All right. So if we press them and keep up that intensity, because what I found in London derbies, right, North London derbies, is that they come out firing on all cylinders straight away, and we're half asleep. We really are. We get we're caught with our pants hanging down, you know. So we got to go out with the same intensity, match theirs, and then go beyond their intensity to win this match. Because it's not going to be easy, right? I know we've got Basuma now. I know we've got Maddison. I know we've got Kulu. We've got Sonny. But they've got their players as well. So we've got to be on our guard. And that little Trossard, I don't like him. He always pops up with important goals.
Signing.
Yeah,
And
it's a very good signing. And you know that little Vieira, they didn't play him tonight, but I was watching him against Everton and I thought, he's a decent player. You know, he can hold the ball, he's quite cultured, you know, he doesn't lose it. He's an intelligent footballer as well. So, you know, when you get to Arsenal, you've got to be a decent footballer, yeah? So we've got to be on our guard. But I think if we play our game and we play at our best, we can match them. And I think we can get a win, but it's going to be a tough call. It's not going to be easy.
Cube?
I would take a draw if somebody offered me a draw right now, I would take it. I think that you know, our history, even though I know Ange is different from, you know, some of our previous managers and stuff, and the kind of football we're playing right now, but you know, our history is that we do not win at the Emirates, and I think that we are not going to win, to be totally honest. I think that I would be happy to get a draw.
Lee.
Well, listen, this is taking United out of the equation, because they're just absolute awful. If you watch some of the goals that went in tonight, my God, they're awful. No wonder they're in trouble. Taking them out of the equation, I think this is the first real test. And the way you've got to look at it is in the last couple of years, or even going back, 3, 4, 5 years, the difference between Sunday and those matches is that we've had the same people playing in the team, in the squad, that know what this match is about. The thing that we may have on our side this time is obviously we are in form, and they may be a bit more conservative, and you're going to have guys in there that don't. It's just another game to them. They don't know the North London derby. They don't know the rivalry stuff. So as long as they go into the match with no fear, I think it's going to be. I don't think we're just going to do what we usually do, is just go floppy for 5 minutes. They score a couple of goals and then we're on the back foot. I think as long as they go on there with no fear, they don't let the occasion get to them, which hopefully they won't, because they won't be scared. For them, it's just another game, and those seasoned veterans, seasoned players that have been there, keep their cool. I think it's going to be a really entertaining game. It could go either way. I'm not going to say we're going to smash them, because it's unrealistic. It's going to be the test for us, and if we come through that test, even if we lose 1-0 or something like that, but we've had 15 shots, or at least we've had a go. I think that's going to be a great outcome. If we win, even better. But I think it could go either way, to be honest, with the way that both teams are playing at the moment. It's just who's got that little bit extra just to take it on the day. And you would expect the home team to do that, but you never know. You just never know in these matches. So let's see what happens. Hopefully it's not boring. Hopefully we won't just go both teams and just sit there and nothing happens, because I've seen a couple of those this season, and Jesus Christ, it's been boring to watch some teams out there. But let's just hope both Arsenal and Tottenham play the way they've been playing, and it will be an entertaining match. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Which usually I wouldn't be. I'd be sitting there wringing out my pants thinking, oh my God, there's 5 minutes to kick off. Do I turn it on or not? It's one of those situations. But I think I'm going to watch it this time, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. Hopefully it'll be really good.
Yeah. The chat is heating up. I could imagine tomorrow.
Yeah, loads of gooners in the chat tonight, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
And they're all giving it as well. They're all giving it the Billy Big Bollocks.
Oh,
Thanks, PSB.
They're worried. Arsenal fans are worried. Don't the mask. Take the mask away. This is the mask in the comments. They're worried. I'm telling you. I know it. When I speak to them, I can feel it. They're worried.
Look, for me, the last sort of 2-3 meetings, I won't go beyond that, but the last 2 or 3 meetings, the thing that's annoyed me the most is that we have gone there with no character, no personalities. Our arseholes have left our bum, and the game plan was non-existent. It was just I couldn't understand. I remember that, when we went there with Nuno, like the 3 in midfield, like I don't know It's just a lack of character, and just completely went in there defeated before the kickoffs even happened. You can see within 20-30 minutes the game would be over. So what I would like to see different, let's before we even go on to what I think the scoreline is going to be and stuff like that, is first of all to go there with personality, go there with a straight bat. Expect a sporting war, like, you know, a footballing war, and one you'll expect. So, you know, you're going to have difficult moments in the game, but the most important thing is about difficult moments in the games is that you try to ride them out, stay in the game, and then when the opportunity arises, try to make the most of the chances that we often create but never put away. And often it's always a single episodes that cause us problems. You know, Luis fumbling on the ball, or Emerson getting himself sent off, which completely swings the tires. Those are the sort of moments that we need to stay focused on it and not get sucked in. I really do believe that if we can do those things, we give ourselves the best opportunity of getting the result. Whatever the result, a positive result, be it a draw, be it a win, it will be a positive result. But if we go there as like we always have done, not turning up, then there's only going to be one absolute outcome, and it's going to be a painful day. But hopefully this time around we go there with a bit of confidence. Hopefully Ange would have had a full week to prepare this team and go in there with a plan to cause an upset. That's all you can ask for. But I do believe that some of the new players and the old players, we will get to find out. Listen, we know they've got the football ability, like the Madisons and Basuma. We know they've got footballing ability, the Doji. But what I'm interested to see now is how they are, character, personality. Can they go to these tough grounds and turn up with a straight back and saying, I'm here? That's all I want to see. That's all I ask for. And then whatever the outcome, whatever the result is, I will accept it, providing I see all these things that I haven't seen in the last 2 or 3 meetings whenever we've gone at the Emirates. But big up to all the Arsenal fans who are convinced, like, you know, Arsenal will win, we're going to get battered, we're going to get smoked. Yeah. Cool. But listen, if you don't, I want to see you all guys back here, man. Make sure that you're here. We present with our faces here on the panel, but I want to see you guys in the comment. I'm writing down every single name that I'm seeing, giving it a Billy Big Bollocks. I want to see you guys back in the chat if you don't get the result that you guys absolutely 100% think you're going to get.
Don't forget DJ Marcus. Give
Yeah. Don't worry. I see DJ Marcus.
He wants to be on the show tomorrow. I said,
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
I'll send him the link.
Oh, it's gonna be nuts tomorrow. Oh man.
I'll be in the chat ripping him out. Don't worry.
Adrian, please send me your information. I know you're not on WhatsApp because Jez will be on the show tomorrow. Jez along with Stefan, TJ. They're bringing out their heavy hitters tomorrow. They got their heavy hitters tomorrow. So it's going to be World War III of banter and trash talking tomorrow. We're also going to try to objectively come up with a current starting 11, like combined 11. I think that's gonna be crazy tomorrow.
And Dino as well. We've got to remember Dino. Get Dino in for the Arsenal chat as well.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'll message him.
One thing I want to mention, just because I know I did say that I would take a draw, and I think that there's a good chance or a decent chance that we could lose. I want to be clear that I don't think we're going to be battered. Like, if we lose, it's going to be like by 1. Okay, I'm not predicting that we're going to get battered, and all the gooners out there saying, "Oh, we're going to batter you." No, you're not going to batter us. It's going to be close.
CQ, you're covering your bases, man.
I'm covering my bases because I'm being honest about where I think we're going to sit. I don't think we're going to batter them either, and I actually don't think we're going to win. But you know, yeah. I want to make sure that people know that I didn't say that we're going to get battered, though, because we're not. We are not going to get battered.
Wouldn't it be good if we could see Arsenal get battered everywhere they go at their stadium?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, they're. I mean, they're delusional. I think they're gonna win like 4-0 or some stupid scoreline like that.
You know what's happening. You know what's happening. All the Arsenal fans are looking at this right now, and they're going to think, "There they go again." We know what's going to happen. Like every year at the Emirates, the same thing will happen.
No, we all said we were going to lose last year. We all said, that's
how they're looking at it. They're looking at us right now, thinking, "Here we go, the usual pre-hype."
I did a
Then
whole
their
tactic
arseholes will go on Sunday.
how we're going to lose, and it happened. I actually explained how it was going to happen, and it happened.
So what's going to happen, Stel, on Sunday?
Oh, tell us about this Sunday, Stel, or Saturday, sorry. Sunday.
For me, right, there's 4 key phases of this game that will decide it. The first 20 minutes, Arsenal will dominate. There's no doubt in my mind. The fans, the adrenaline, I don't care if they played midweek and extra minutes, they always turn up. Arsenal will turn up for this game, 100%. They'll be ready. So we have to not be 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. We can't get pumped in the first 20 minutes. If we're 1-0 down, it's not the end of the world. The next phase is going to be when substitutions happen, because they've got a better bench than ours. Losing Perisic for me is a big blow because he can actually put good crosses in. So either Brendan Johnson's going to have to step up, or Richarlison's going to have to pop up with another headed goal like he did last time. Our subs need to impact the game more than theirs because they've got a better bench. And the last thing where I think will decide this game is the goalkeepers, because they keep changing their goalkeepers. And today, if you saw Ramsdale's face in the stands, he didn't look happy. Now, if Ramsdale starts, because that's the plan now, Arteta wants to rewrite the rule book.
I think Raya's...
Okay, but I'm just saying, if Ramsdale starts, I think that it opens a door for us, because he's not going to be 100% there. He might want to prove himself. No, I'm number one and have a blinder, but I don't think he will. I saw him tonight, and he didn't look in good spirits. So I think Vicario and whoever the goalie is, even if it's Raya, will have a big say in this game, because I do think there'll be lots of chances, and I think goalies will have a massive say in this. Arsenal are under more pressure than Spurs in this game. Arsenal cannot lose this game. In fact, they can't really draw and drop off points behind City, right? Yep. Arsenal need to win this game. They go into this game under more pressure. The only pressure our players are under is just turn up. If you lose, you lose. But just for once, turn up. Actually give them a freaking game, man. If we go and give them a game, a really good game, but we lose, as Spurs fans, I think we'll accept that, because we know we gave it the best we could with what we've got for now. Their pressure is they've got to win it. And I think that pressure will tell who what the score's going to be, who's going to win. Listen, good luck. I think Spurs can get a draw. I really, really do think. I'm going to the game, right? If I thought we're going to go and get battered, I wouldn't go. I think we could do something in this game. I think to win it, Arsenal would have to make some bad mistakes, and Spurs would have to give a 10 out of 10 performance. Spurs would have to be... Listen, at the end of the day, Arsenal are good. They're really, really good. But they're not wow. 10-man Fulham got a draw against them. Let's not forget that. 10-man Fulham went to the Emirates and get a draw. So why can't 11-man Spurs go there with a bit of balls and say, do you know what? We can do some damage here today. Why can't we? If we don't have that mentality, then don't turn up. There's no point. Just give them the points, and this does not even waste our time of getting all the banter and the abuse that's going to come. So Arsenal, I watched them against Everton, as efficient and as dominant as they were. 1 goal. So the Arsenal are there to be got at. And if there's any team this season I've seen that really goes at teams and keeps going, it's Tottenham.
Yeah. But
we've got to turn up. If we turn up, I honestly think Arsenal aren't going to get what they want out of this game. But I don't think we're just going to go there and just turn them over. I'm not one of these fans, we're going to batter you. No fucking way are we going to batter Arsenal on their turf. But I do think if we turn up, we will surprise a lot of people. I do.
So you're going to go to the Emirates? What section are you going to sit in?
Corporate Arsenal. Got Michelin. No, I'm with Spurs. I'm a Spurs fan.
Next to Levy.
Huge piece of shit.
To get a result at the Emirates, the big thing the biggest part of the game is going to be the midfield. The guys are going to have to play really solid. Last season, when we lost to Arsenal, our midfield we got effed. Like literally bend over and get spanked. We got, except for Sar, put in effort. We weren't good this season. I'm confident that we could possibly get a result. First of all, it's a long time coming. We haven't won there since 2010. Like it's always once in a while something happens. It's the same thing with trophies. Sooner or later, it's going to fall in our lap, maybe miraculously. But I think with Basuma, Sar, and Massa, and the way they're playing, Arsenal's going to see the best midfield they've seen yet, because they haven't played City, they haven't played Manchester City yet. Basuma is going to ball. That's why I think this game is going to be very interesting and very open. It could be 2-2, it could be 3-3, but if it's Arsenal 3-2, if the game is like that and we put in a great effort, I'm content. I'm content because it shows progress. It shows progress, and that's what I want to see. I want to see progress from this team. But the midfield is going to be key. Them losing Martinelli is hurts, but Trossard, I gotta say, Trossard is, man. We could have had
Murray, you say the midfield is where you think is going to be won. I don't disagree, but I also feel that it's not just going to be that midfield. The wide areas, Arsenal are really, really good. Like Saka had a very good game tonight. The wide areas is where we got exposed against Man United when they got in behind a couple of times, and especially against Brentford. Brentford should have beaten us. Those balls over the top. If we get caught like that, Arsenal will punish us. So those wide areas for us. But the one thing that gives me confidence,
not playing against Porro because Martinelli's out.
Trossard's good. Saka's good. The other side's good.
Yeah.
But you know what gives me confidence, right? Our manager is calm. Ange will play the game, not the moment. The moment will not get the better of Ange. Ange had Celtic into Ibrox. He knows what a big derby is about, man. That's probably one of the most fiery derbies in the world. He's got that in his ammunition. He's got that in his locker. He'll go into the Emirates within 5 minutes. I get it. And that is important. A manager that doesn't get caught in the moment, and he won't. I don't think he will. I think he'll play the game. And I'm glad we're going into this game with Ange. I really am.
Yeah.
Just got to make sure our players are not caught up in the moment too, because a lot of them are very young, and they haven't done a North London derby. Like pretty much, there's very few players there that are going to be playing, especially in the starting, that have done a North London derby. It's like I don't even know other than like Sonny. Like I think Sar might have played last season the North London derby, and Decky did, I think. So I think that's it.
Cube, this is where your captains, Romero, Maddison, and Son, need to earn their stripes, right? They need to earn their stripes, and they have to get control of the team on the day. That's why they're
the first thing that has to happen is not to get caught up in the whole, because it's going to be like it is. You're going into Lions Den, in a North London derby. You go into Lions. It's how you cope with that, and often we haven't been dealing with that well in the last few seasons. But if you cast your minds back when we last won it, if you remember, man, we had some big personalities that day that turned up. We had Van der Vaart and Kaboo and Bow. We went there with a lot of like cojones, man. We turned up and we went with a straight back. And this is all I'm asking is that we don't fold within 15, 20 minutes. How many derbies have been over and within 30 minutes of the game? Within 30 minutes, you're like, we're out of this. We're done.
Yeah, the first 20 minutes are key. If we don't turn up in the first 20, we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
So that's what I mean by character.
You remember that London derby when we went 2-0 up when we had Adebayor and they battered us 5-2?
Yeah, but another one, Adebayor turned up for those games. He loved playing against Arsenal. He did it with us. He did it with Man City. He loved those games. That's what I'm saying about being pumped up and firing and not to like get caught in a moment where you're playing the occasion rather than a match. That's the part I'm talking about.
Let's not forget as well, Iggy. right? Man United were 1 inch away from beating Arsenal 2-1 at the Emirates as well.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Just like
Oh,
Fulham
yeah.
with 10 men. I'm telling you, Arsenal can be got at. We can get at them.
Yeah,
We've just got to get it right. We've just got to be on point, and we can get at them. I know we can.
yeah.
We shall see. Guys, I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna
Bye,
shoot off.
Iggy.
Big up, guys. Have a great
See you later,
evening.
Iggy.
Okay. Speak
See
soon.
you
Take care.
again.
It's there, Iggy, man.
All right, Iggy.
Listen, Estelle, this all comes back to mentality as well, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
minute you decide to change your philosophy of how you play a match because you fear the other team, you've already lost.
Mm.
Yeah.
We
I
just need to
agree.
walk in there and go, we're not going to change the way we play just because it's Arsenal. In fact, the way that we play probably works from an attacking perspective, will work better against Arsenal than it would do against a Sheffield United, because they're not fearful of just sitting back and letting us come on to them. So it's going to be more of an open game. And as long as our mentality is we're not going to treat this any different than any other game, people don't, the occasion doesn't get to them. I think it's going to be a fan. I'm not even going to be one of these people that's like, oh, we're going to beat them. I think it's going to be a really exciting match to watch. I think it'd be really entertaining.
Yeah.
I think so too.
What will be, whatever the result is.
Game.
The one thing that, I said we lose is the option of, all right, it's 2-2 and we're going for the victory, right? Or maybe go for an equalizer, and we could put in Perisic, and then Richarlison finally scored. But whipping balls into the box, having that option of getting a header or having our players crash the box to score an equalizer or to score a game-winning goal. I think losing Perisic, that does hurt, because now we don't have another option to kind of change the game. If I'm making sense here, because that's what had us kind of come back. The last game against Sheffield. Okay, all right, we're gonna just crash the box. We only have 10 minutes left. All right, Perisic, whip it in, and see who could connect on the other end. Now that Perisic is not there, we don't have that option anymore.
Yeah. Because Solomon, he doesn't offer us that. He tends to cut back and then do an easy pass across the 18-yard box.
Low
Doesn't tend
passes.
to cross it in. But maybe we'll be working on that. Now they know they've lost Perisic, they'll be working on Brennan Johnson and Solomon to provide the crosses. Depends, because like Sonny, he doesn't go for crosses anyway, so he likes the ball to feet, and he's very instinctive round that box, left foot, right foot, banging into the top corner. So we've got to feed Sonny the right sort of balls, because he's no good with his head.
Well,
is he?
Porro will. I mean, if Porro starts or plays, he will play at some point. I don't know whether or not he's going to start, but he will. If he doesn't start, he'll be subbed on for sure. But we all know that he has it in his locker to put in some great crosses. So I think that although Perisic not being there to put in crosses is maybe a loss there, but Porro will definitely put in some.
Yeah, he's good at crossing.
Yeah, Paul should start. I mean, if we start, people, do they believe the myth that Emirates is a better defender than Porro? I mean, like I said, we know Martinez not playing. It's going to be Trossard. So Saka on the other side with Udoji, loving to see that battle. And now on the other side, it's almost like because he's crafty. Trossard, I got to give him his props. He is very crafty.
I think he will. I think Porro will start, and that's who I would pick to start. But I'm just saying that I don't feel like it's as a definite, thing as much as like, we know Romero's going to start for sure. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't think that Porro is like definitely going to start, but that's who I would pick to start on that side.
Do you know what? It's crazy how both sets of fans see this game completely different. You look at all the Arsenal fans, Arsenal going to win 4-0, 3-0, 4-1. It's like we're going to batter you. Whereas all the Spurs fans who are confident, 2-2, 3-2, 2-1, we're going to win just by a narrow margin.
Yeah.
How do two fans completely see it different? Like,
Jess said he saw that we were going to get a point. I was surprised.
That's the precious Del you were talking about.
yeah.
We've got there's no pressure on us, right? This season is what it is. It's the first year of a rebuild. Whatever happens, happens. But for them, off the back of a second, they can't do that again. They've got to go for it. Otherwise, it's just going to be another year of, oh, well, you came second again or you came third. It's just like we haven't progressed. So, yeah, although I am going to say one thing. A couple of the guys in the comments have mentioned about, oh, we played at Eindhoven tonight. We've rested 4 of our players. If you've rested people and then something does happen and we beat you on Sunday, you can't use the excuse of the midweek match.
Exactly.
That's all I'm going to say.
Arsenal's best players played tonight. All their best players.
I thought so.
Yeah, they did. Odegaard, Saka, Saliba, what's his name? Gabriel, Jesus started, Trossard. All their best players played. Zinchenko, they all started. All of them.
Yeah.
So,
it's likely going to be that our starting 11, if we are using the same starting 11 that we've had, the last 2 games or something, the only people on the pitch that are going to have won a North London derby are going to be Sonny and Decky. That's it. Those are the only ones that will have experience winning a North London derby. Even Romero did not, because remember he was injured when the last time we won the North London derby. So that it's going to be a test for these young players. I think, don't get me wrong, I think Ange is up for it. Like, I think he'll be fine. But I mean, like, the young players, it's going to be a test for them. I think they could rise to the occasion, but because Sar, when he did play North London derby, even though we lost, he played well. But I'm just saying that it will.
Rifle brings up a good point. Arsenal fans overlooking that, okay, our defense have changed with Udogie, because a lot of them objectionable Arsenal fans that I've seen said, yo, Udogie is playing good. The partnership, until last week, we had no fouls between Romero and Bendeven, and got their first yellow finally the last game. So our defense is playing better, much better than the defense was playing last season when they battered us. So are they Arsenal fans overlooking that our defense is better? And our midfield is supporting our defense too. Basuma, Sar, are Arsenal fans overlooking that?
Well, Mari, you only got to look at the difference, right? I mean, I looked at the stats not long ago, and I'm sure this is up to date, but you look at the difference of Romero when he's playing with competent defenders.
Yeah.
He's a completely different defender in the first 4 or 5 games, and he's not had a single booking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens. And Mickey van der Ven gets a booking in a match where I think they were, he was handing them out like lollipops at the dentist. That referee was just balmy on that day. He was just giving yellow cards out for no reason whatsoever and challenges that weren't yellow cards. So it just goes to show you, when you, even players that have not played together, as long as you're all competent and you know what your role is and you do that role, how much less pressure it puts on each of them to then make rash decisions, right? And that's the difference this year.
Yeah. And
I was the first one that said Van der Ven, doesn't matter about his age. If you've got a steady head on you, doesn't matter what age you are, you know your job, you do your role, and you can do it well, age doesn't come into it. And that's exactly what is rubbing off onto Romero, the fact that he's got someone there that is not, putting tackles in, basically. Yeah, Dyer, right? The guy just didn't want to tackle. The only thing he knows how to do is back off and give him an opportunity to shoot. So, anything's got to be better than that. But it just goes to show you what that can do for your mentality and how you approach games. Guy's like a completely different player.
Big up, Adrian. Hope to see you tomorrow.
Can I say something
brought
right,
up the-
about
yeah.
Romero? Can I say something about
yeah.
Romero? Right, what I've noticed, big difference this season. He was doing it a little bit last season, but he's more competent on the ball, but he's going forward a lot more and joining the attack. You see, when he scored his goal, he was forward. He's coming into deeper areas because he knows that he can trust Van de Ven to cover for him, right? Because I saw when we played Brentford away, right? They won the ball. They pressed us. They won the ball, and Romero was up, and he couldn't recover. But Van de Ven done a fabulous tackle, brilliant tackle, won the ball cleanly, and he knows that he can trust him to do that. Whereas with Dyer, he couldn't trust him to tackle my grandmother, let alone a flipping footballer. You know what I mean? So there's trust there between them both, you know. So I really noticed that a lot with Romero. He's joining the attack a lot more. And look at the goal he scored. It was fabulous. Brilliant goal. So I'm really pleased with him that he's calmed down as well. And they both trust one another as a duo, you know.
Can I ask you guys because I think that it's a lot more variable than, I think our back line and our midfield is pretty much set. So who is your starting front three for Arsenal?
For Arsenal or
No,
for
for us against Arsenal.
I told you that she pretends she supports Spurs, right? But just there.
Caught her
Came
out.
out.
No, I
Caught her
said
out.
for Arsenal as in for us against Arsenal, like the
Bet
Arsenal
that
game.
Batman's got red pants on.
For the Arsenal game.
Oh, easy. I would start. Honestly, I would start now. Son, Kulu. I wouldn't start Johnson instead of Solomon.
I would as well. He's got
Yeah,
pace.
I would.
Arsenal don't like pace.
100%.
I want those three because the reason why I said it's cute because I was going to post this question to everybody. The times where Arsenal has given up a goal these last 2 seasons, the teams that have attacked Zinchenko because he's made mistakes. I think that's the very key factor on Sunday, attacking him. Like you have Porro, whoever's on that side, they need to have him confused, have him spinning because he's good offensively, but defensively, for me, I don't rate him as a defensively, and I've seen him make some gaffes that has screwed Arsenal.
Yeah.
So I think it sounds like most of you are saying that you would definitely start Decky and Son. And then the left side is where the variable is, whether or not it's Johnson or Solomon.
Yeah, I think them two are interchangeable. For me, I thought my alarm was going off. For me, I think Solomon's done well, but he's not shown too much to make him absolutely cemented in that left position.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to give someone time, you're going to get a lot of people to say, well, actually, Johnson's only just got here. This is a big game. Maybe we don't put him in there. Maybe give Solomon, who's played in the system, a chance. I think he'll probably start with Solomon, and I think we will then bring Johnson on at some point, just because Solomon's played more in that system.
Yeah, he's had more minutes. What I won't do is this. Okay, what Has Spurs says. I get why he's saying it. Murray. He said
to wind them up.
Yeah. Right, I would not do this, and I'll tell you why. Spurs under Ange, we don't do shithousery. We're not that team where we try and wind you up, piss you off. We focus on football. We play the ball. We play as a team. We play the right way. The days of Lamellas and Richies and all this shithousery, that has to end. Focus on the game. You don't see Man City doing shithousery. They focus on the game and they stay in the game. So I get why Hasbro's saying this. If we're 2-1 up and there's 5 minutes to go, yeah, then you might want to do it. Just to really just totally take them over the edge. There may be, but during the game, I think we just got to focus on our football. have players that are just going to focus on the football. If Richie comes on to play football, fair enough. But if it's just to wind up players, like Romero doesn't wind up players now. He's just focusing on his game. Like Ellie said, he's calmer. I don't think if we get drawn into that, I think it brings the worst out in us. That's when we start getting the red cards and the yellow cards, and we start getting into problems.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there will be a red card probably.
Hold
Because
on.
there is. In every North London derby, there's always a red card.
It's going to be us, isn't it? It's going to be fun.
See, still, has followed up with another one, right? And he said, I would start Son, Richie and Johnson. Now, I completely disagree with this, and I'll tell you why, and there's nothing against.
How's he struggled
you
down
personally.
the right, though? How's he struggled? How? He's got one assist, 2 goals, and he's covered more ground than any other attacking player in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Off the ball, he gives us more than any other midfielder or attacker so far this season in terms of work rate. I don't get. Has explain that. Break it down.
He will. So Zafra Gunnar, he will bring back Richarlison at some point. Like he will play at some point. He may not start, but he'll definitely be
He'll
subbed
come
on.
on. He'll
come on as a sub. If he doesn't start, he'll come on as a sub.
Only for Has. Come on, and I put the link. Has big up. He took over for me a couple weeks ago when I had internet problem. It was him and I forget. It was Has and someone who took over for me and internet. Has, I put the link. If you could break it down.
Oh, it's just on his
coming on. He's coming. I'd be interested to see why he would want to go back to what we had, which wasn't effective, which is Son on the left, Richie in the middle, and Kulu. Now knowing that most of us agree that Son is more effective running in the channels, whereas Richie tends to like his back to goal, but also with all the apparent mental health problems that Richie's going through, why you would sacrifice Son and put him up front knowing that he's not mentally in a place in a North London derby. And
Arsenal fans will target Richie as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Can you imagine the abuse that he's going to get?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't, you know, as you say, I think it'd be better off bringing him on. It would be rubbing salt in the wound if it was 1-1 and he came on and then scored in the last 5 minutes. That would be fun, but that's best case scenario. But I wouldn't start him. Not at all. Not at the moment.
If Richie scores, it'll be a header. Mark my word.
It's always
or it'll fall over and the ball will just hit him and go in or something. I don't know.
It won't be coming from Perisic.
I would love to see Richie just score a winning goal, run behind the goal because there's a bit of a gap behind the goal. Look at the Arsenal fans and start pigeon at them like that.
Oh no! Just whip a bag of birdseed out of his pocket. Just start throwing it at them.
Start feeding them.
We'll quickly because I won. Okay, I'll put them on. We'll wait to get you tomorrow, but we'll get you on. As explained, why would you want to bring back Richie if it wasn't working?
Sorry.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. So I heard some crackling. Sorry.
It was Ellie. Ellie's.
Yeah. I know. It happened earlier. We were doing a stream.
Yeah.
So what did you say?
A question from Lee. Why would you risk putting Richie back into the starting lineup? I know you said for shithousery, but why would you
It's not just for that. I know I just said there's a comment, like a passing comment. But also in this game, you're going to need, I think, extra height for the set pieces, just in my opinion, right? When Arsenal put a lot of pressure on us, we're going to need an out ball, someone to win a long. Say we play long balls, we're clearing the ball, right? Playing long balls. For me, I'd rather have someone like Richarlison in the middle than Son, who's more than likely not going to get near the end of those sorts of balls.
But
right?
sorry, when do we play those long balls? We don't do that anymore.
In this kind of game, everything goes out the window, right? Then
we've lost.
It's going to be mad.
Like Lee said, if we go and change our game for this If we change the way we play for this game, we've lost.
Maybe right. It has maybe right in
Ellie,
regards
your
to
mic
the,
absolutely.
yeah. Has
Like
maybe,
AI. Yeah.
has might be right. I don't want Richie to start in regards to the defense because against Sheffield, Van de Ven didn't really play well in the air. And Arsenal, Saliba and Gabriel, they're pretty good in the air. Actually, Arsenal's pretty good at set pieces. That's one of my fears. To be objectionable, that's one of my fears in this game is set pieces going the other way in the defense.
Well, Vicario needs to control his box then. He needs to come off that line and get control of the box.
Because Van they didn't do too well against McBride, whatever his name is
McBurney.
McBurney, yeah.
Sheffield. And we know that was his weakness coming in from Italy. I mean, not from Italy, from Germany. That was his weakness. Romero has been better this season in the year. But Van de Ven and some of the other guys set pieces, and we gave up a goal on set piece. It was weird how we gave it up because the man was unmarked, but he was the furthest guy. It was weird, but I could see where has his point may work on the defense because we want our best headers.
But also, this game, I know you guys probably disagree with me and say we should go there and play our football, but I'd rather we made it like a scrap. Because if we go there and play such an open game, this is just my take on it, I think we'll get torn apart because they're at home. Arsenal, I know they're missing Martinelli, but Trossard for me is, I want him at Spurs last January, so I've always rated this guy, and he's, for me, he's class. He's a typical Arsenal player, technical, and he can do damage to us. So I'd rather we turn to like a scrap because all the success we've had going in the Emirates before has been like, the 4-4 when it turned into like a mess up of a game, the 3-2, which was like he kind of threw everything out the window in the second half, and he did something completely like off the cuff. Redknapp, he put Van der Vaart on the right, put the throw up front, and obviously he did a few changes throughout the game, right? And don't forget, in that period, play like a 4-4-1-1, yeah, and we came back. But and if you realize also, if you look at the past goals, like for example, Dele Alli and Son that we scored in the past games on the pitch, or in the game where we won against the Carabao Cup, there were long balls. Well, not long balls, but long through balls, if you want to call it, and someone on the end of it. Arsenal's weakness for me is like with us, those balls over the top or those balls high. I think if we, and also with Richarlison, I think of him is that just put someone on Saliba, right? Because if you get Saliba rolled up and you get him sent off, the game's basically like is ours, yeah. So, and I know normally I wouldn't put Son on the left, but for this game, I think you kind of have to keep him in regardless. And what I'd do is I'd literally leave one or two of them up and have one of them drop, and then I just play balls over the top and let Johnson or Son and whoever they can interchange, the 2 and the 3 can, 2 and 1 can interchange. That's how.
But we're not going to play that. That's not how Ange plays, though, is it?
There's so many, it's fascinating. There's so many tactical permutations. I mean, I've gone through quite a few. I think he'll start with the same team. I think they'll target Porro, will target Zinchenko down there. I think whereas Sarr tends to break on the right of the midfield and get in the box and score a goal like he did as Man United, I think he's got to be a bit cautious, and him and Kulu might have to cover for Porro if that's that case. If you had a change on the front feet, Decky definitely plays. He gives you so much, doesn't he? I mean, like, he gives hold up. He's good defensively. He's good on the ball. He's a playmaker. He scores. He's so good. And he comes in for a lot of criticism. I don't really understand it. I'll still play Sonny through the middle because you want him running at their central defenders, and he'll get more space because they won't be playing a low block. A possibility is Arsenal strongest on their right-hand side, but we've got Van der Ven and Udogie over there. You could put, I don't think it'll happen. I think Solomon will play, but you could put Richarlison on the left, and then he goes into the middle for set pieces, corners, and things like that to mix it up a bit, because he would stiffen that right-hand side if we needed. If, like, when we're pushing forward, if you found that Udogie was in front of him or whatever, or there was a bit of interchange there, like Porro and Kulu do sometimes interchange right down in that right-hand corner, if that happened, Richarlison could get back and he'd give you some stability. Well, he would give you the shit hours, really. He'd take someone out if he had to. You know what I mean? So he hasn't done it yet. But they've got pace, but so have we. I mean, it is fascinating. I mean, McBurney gave Van der Ven a tough test, but he came through it. I mean, he did struggle a bit. They said we heard all these rumours he was bad in the air when he came. He hasn't done too badly in the air. And like last season, when we played block, what I found out was we was having to defend so many balls in the box, so many crosses into the box, whether it was corners, free kicks, or because we played a low block. Now we've pushed forward. Romero's having more room, and we know that Romero and Van der Ven can run back and outrun most players if the ball's hit over the top. So you've got that. Porro's concentration gets caught a bit flat-footed on the right-hand side. He did against Burnley, but then if he can give you that killer ball forward like he did for Son for that goal, I want him in the team. And I've been a bit of a critic of him because I think it's but it's just my sort of little synopsis of the way the game could go. But it's going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
If we had the lineups with it's going to be fascinating encounter. And I don't see why we can't go there and win. I really don't see why we don't go there and win.
I mean, for me, I mean, because I don't think I said it yet, but like for me, I would say that I'd start, from, right to left. I'd start Decky. I put Son in the middle, and then I would actually give Johnson the start. I mean, honestly, that left side, Johnson, Richie, Solomon, it's all kind of the same to me, to be totally honest, because I just think that they all give us something a little bit different depending on what we're looking for. And I don't feel like any of them are definite strong performers for us. But I think that for me, the reason why I'd say Johnson is because you have Solomon, who is who's is a good dribbler, is tricky, has some pace on him, but has some issues with end product. You have Richie, who's more direct and could, do some shithousery if we need to, right? And he's a little bit, creates a little bit of chaos there, where some of the players, on the Arsenal team might feel like he may get into some shithousery or something with them. But with Johnson, in the last game, the way that he definitely has pace, and the way that he was able to react so quickly and score that offside goal, I would just be interested in seeing some more of that, because I don't know how much of that we have with Solomon or Richie to be able to get on the end of a ball, a cross or a long ball or anything like that, to just, be so alert and just get it in there like that. So I would start Johnson, but I would switch it out depending on how he was performing.
Because I would
be very surprised if Johnson started over Solomon or Richie. I would be very.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm saying that that's what I would do.
Not over those two. They've got more experience than him. Where's Solomon's about 26, isn't he?
Is he 24?
Or 24, whatever. They've got more experience.
But Johnson, I see Johnson's more like a runner. Because if you saw the Forest Arsenal game, obviously he missed that chance where the ball was pulled over the top and he missed it. But
Solomon's 24.
And then obviously he had the chance where he scored was given offside for us. He's more of like a runner. I can't see him kind of, I haven't seen enough of him, but I don't see him kind of get the ball and start going past players yet, at least. So that's why I think you're playing Son, Richarlison, and Johnson was that you have two runners and you have one player at least who has a bit of height when you're doing these long balls to get rid of the ball, because I don't want us to be tippy-tap around the back.
What's Johnson?
I think us starting with Richie is the equivalent of Arsenal starting with Kai Havertz. I think us starting with Richie like them starting with Kai Havertz.
But then, then Solomon then, because at least at Burnley he got 2 assists. It showed me more, because I still don't know that much about Solomon, I'll be quite honest with you. And what I've seen of Brennan Johnson, even at Forest, and we bought him, and I know we looked at him for a couple of seasons and all that. I've watched videos of him. We all know he's fast, he carries the ball, but when I eye test people and videos, what I look for, because people say, "Oh, they always look good." Yeah, fine. So I'm looking for players with vision who move the ball quickly that can make things happen. I don't know that John can make things happen. I mean, he may in the future, but I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that in him. He moves the ball quickly, but vision.
That's why I would start Solomon.
I
You're absolutely right. In a Nottingham Forest
He hasn't done
team.
anything wrong.
No, but in a Nottingham Forest team that plays completely different to us. Remember, Johnson in what let's call it a counter-attacking Forest team, right? Was still one of the top 3% of the players that when they get the ball drive forward with it, right? But that's him trying to counter-attack. Whereas in this team, he's going to have other players around him, so his game sort of change ever so slightly. So we haven't seen that yet, and the only way that Andrew's seen that is in a few minutes he's had on the pitch and obviously in training. So for me, I would stick with Solomon because he's had more match minutes in that system. If you're going to stick with the front three as it was, I'm honest with you guys. I would not put Richie in this team to start off with.
Fair enough.
Not if his mindset's all over the place. I would bring him on later. I would not start him.
Yeah.
I think Richie's better as an impact. I think he's better coming off the bench anyway, Lee. I think he's a better player coming off the bench. I think he has more of an impact. He didn't. Remember last season at Nottingham Forest? He came on and he put that beautiful outside of the boot cross to Harry Kane to score a goal, and then he did that insane bit of skill that wound up the Nottingham Forest players. I think he's better coming off the bench.
Him and Johnson, not bad two to have on the bench though to bring on.
And do you know who fouled him when he did that keepy uppy? It was Johnson.
It was actually Johnson. Oh.
Yeah.
He was.
All right, so let's take some get some final scores. We'll work our bottom way up. I know you put the score on your prediction, but I forgot it. What is your prediction? What is?
We're going to hate me for saying this. 4-2 to Arsenal.
Okay.
3-1 to Spurs. 2 from Sonny and 1 for one for Kulu.
Okay. Ellie?
I've always said 4-2 to Spurs, so I'm going to stick with it. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
Come on, Spurs.
Q?
I think that Arsenal will probably win, but I can't name that. It's because I'm just too much of a Spurs fan, so I'll say 2-2.
Okay.
Lee?
So I think if both teams play the way they play, I think there could be goals flying in all over the place. If we're both conservative and drop off a little bit, I think it might be a 1-1 draw. If there's goals flying all over the place, I don't know, 2-2, 3-3. Just depends who keeps their cool. But I just hope it's an exciting game. That's all I care about.
Oh.
I think Arsenal will have the better of us early doors. We'll somehow get through it. Then it's going to be a proper game of football, like really good game of football. And then late drama. I don't know what the drama is, but it's going to be late drama, and Spurs are going to walk out there with a 2-2 draw. Just.
I hope it is a good game because you're going still.
2-2.
Are you going?
Yeah, I'm going. If we win, though, you won't see me again.
The thing
If we win, they're going to kill me. They're going to kill me if we win, I'm telling you.
I don't think this team knows how to play conservatively.
No.
We'll
go there. We'll go there to Trump.
You'll want to go and get the 3 points.
I think we'll do what we did in the League Cup when we beat them 2-0 there.
Yeah, Sonny scored that day in Dele Alli, isn't it?
Adrian, can I just ask you, right? You think we're going to beat 4-2, right? Which is
3-1.
You had your 3-1.
I said 4-2. Ellie said 4-2.
4-2. Both of you two, right? 3-1, 4-2. Are you just completely not showing Arsenal any respect? The fact that they are a Champions League team, they're undefeated this season, they came second last year, they bought a couple of good signings. Don't you take any of that into account with your predictions?
Yeah, I do. But look at them when they played Fulham. Look at them when they play Man United, and Man United used pace to get at them. The thing with Arsenal when they're playing at home, even last season, a lot of teams gave them too much respect. till the end of the season when they fell away, right? And they came unstuck because I think teams sussed them out. I just think you can get at Zinchenko. I think he's a very good player, right? You know, I'd have had him from City, right? But I think he's a very good player, but he's got a mistake in him, and I think you can get at him. And I think even the Man United game, you mentioned it earlier, Stelios, with the pace Man United had, Arsenal really struggled because Man United sort of came. Nothing much happened in the early parts of the game until the game was won. It was a bit push here, push forward, push back, push. It was a bit to and fro-ish, right? But Man United, they didn't actually have to do a lot to cause them trouble, the way I looked at it. And I thought, these can be got at. I'm not saying Arsenal are a good side. They're a very good side, right? But I just don't think that they're nowhere near invincible. You know what I mean? Last season's tale, I've told you it. I mean, all right, they lost a key player, but so we lost players. We lost Bentancur, didn't we? So yeah. So no, I just think we can get at them with pace, and they, like you said, them being frantic in the first 20 minutes, I think, could be their undoing. Because we're pretty calm. We're pretty calm at the back. You know, we don't look like, you know, you're going to have scares, or obviously you're going to get scares in every game, but I just think we're pretty calm. I mean, Udogie, I mean, like, our back, apart from our right-hand side, I mean, like, apart from sort of like Porro, you know, if he's on point, Porro's on point, we win the game, declaration.
No, if you're talking about get at them with pace, then, I mean, Johnson is fast. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that he will start. I'm just saying that's why I would pick him, is because he's fast. And his reaction is fast.
We've got enough North London derby debutants tomorrow, haven't we? I think we must have. Who's played in a North London derby in that team? 4 players.
That's what Lee was saying earlier.
The only players. Hold on. I
just don't.
That have won the North London derby.
I think he actually is a risk, Johnson, to play. And then if you brought him on with half out to go, you know, I'd understand that. But if we're winning with half out to go, he stays on the bench.
You're talking about Solomon. Hold on. You're talking about Solomon. That's who you would pick. But Solomon, and I'm not saying that there's a problem with, starting Solomon in any way. I'm just saying that your argument for Solomon, because of the fact that Brennan Johnson can't manage a North London derby, is not the case when you're saying that Solomon hasn't done a North London derby either. He hasn't done a North London derby either.
My reason is based on the fact that he gave 2 assists against Burnley, and he's a winger that when he gets in the final third, you can probably rely on him to lay a ball off. If with Johnson, he seems to be more head down like Lucas Moura, we could waste an attacking chance if he doesn't look up. Now, I could be wrong, because I haven't seen enough of him. He hasn't convinced me yet. He's a talent, and I think he'll do well and come good. But I just think that Solomon, with them assists at Burnley, that's what impressed me, actually, because I thought, hey, you've had your best game for us, I thought. And I thought, like, he'll lay off. You've got Kulu does it on the other side. He can find a pass. People say he cuts on his left, but he does it in narrow space so as he can find a pass, So, and there's no point crossing the ball in the box if no one's in the middle. And besides, the last time I looked, and you guys can check, I think 1 in 64 crosses in a box results in a goal. So I think there's a bit too much played about crosses into the box,
Yeah.
I think the player, everybody knows.
Into the penalty area.
Everybody knows that, I love Sonny. I think that the player that's going to have the most pressure on him this match will be Sonny. He is going to have the most pressure as now captain, and the one that has the most experience, who will be on the pitch, most experience at a North London derby, and most experience overall, in football as well. So he will have the most pressure of anybody, and he has to turn up. And this is he has to turn up. And that does not.
He came out with fighting talk. Like, he came out, that was a bit of fighting talk yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And because he said those words.
He's done it in big games.
Hold on. Just because I said that does not mean, when I say Sonny turn up, that does not necessarily mean he has to score a goal. Because everybody it always equates him with he has to score a goal to be turning up. That's not true. Okay. He
But
has
he's
to
a
play
forward,
well.
though.
Hold on. He has to play well. Okay. He has to play well with which is whether it's scoring a goal, assisting a goal, helping with build up, creating space for other players, whatever it may be, but he needs to play well. He is the one that's going to have the most pressure on him for this game, and he needs to play well. I will say that. For us to win this game, he has to play well.
I disagree. If we win this game, Son has to score because that's the only way I can see us getting the result.
He will score. He will score, Has. He will. And look, he combines well with Kulu as well. I mean, when they were away at Man City, when Sonny squared the ball for him to score, Kulu at Leeds and all at Norwich and all that. I mean, and Kulu's calm. I mean, he took that second goal against Sheffield United pretty calmly, the touch. And then
he was playing in the middle then, though. I keep trying to raise the point, but
he may move into the middle. I'm sure he would, rather than have to curl the ball too much from the edge of the penalty. I'm sure he would like to get more. We're going to get chances. They will as well. Look, it could go every way, but I'm not backing against my team. Yeah?
I was watching Kulu in the warm-up, right? And he was doing right foot, left foot, banging them in. And I said to the guy next to me, I always stand next to him, I said, Kulu's going to score today, because he was practicing with his right foot as well, which I was very impressed with, because his right foot shot was just as good as his left foot shot. So I thought, he's been working on his game, and he gets a lot of flack, Kulu, and he hardly ever loses the ball. He holds up the play. He helps with defence, and he's such a cultured player. How to nurture the ball, and he knows how to bring players into play, right? And he doesn't. Foreign players, they don't tend to go for the byline. They cut inside, and they pass it in along the 18-yard box. That's what they do, and that's where you get your goals from. Like you said, Adrian, 1 in 64 crosses results in a goal. So why do that? Unless you're Perisic and you can put it on the money.
Well, listen,
he
worked for Ashley
the
Young, right?
Space, isn't he, on the edge of the penalty area, the two half.
Yeah, he's clever, Kulu. He's a clever, very, very clever footballer.
He is left-footed, but you still got to stop him. And he's got 2 goals and an assist in 4 or 5 games.
I actually think his goal was really good. I didn't expect to do that. Yeah.
I
see him as a future number 10, but others say number 8 or whatever.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
So if Madders gets injured, I think you'd pull him inside. But we're all guessing. I'm sure Ange knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I want to be clear. I think that Sonny can rise to the pressure. He has shown it in the past. Okay, I'm just saying that he will be under the most pressure of anybody. Ellie, are you in your bathroom?
Yeah, I am. I'm moved from upstairs because I'm nearer to the router now.
Okay.
Do you know what's interesting tonight is the fact that we seem to have so much more confidence in the midfield that we've basically only spoken about defence and attack. We've barely talked about Basuma, Sarr, Maddison. We're so confident that there's not even worth talking about.
Yeah,
if better than Rice, Odegaard, and then who are they going to play? Havertz or Vieira? Who are they going to play?
Havertz played tonight, so maybe he'll play Vieira. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I hope they play Havertz.
Havertz plays.
I hope they play Havertz.
He'll get cooked, I think.
That's fraud Havertz. I hope they play him.
Still don't get that sign in.
How do you think?
I think the sign's like an ego thing. Personally, the Havertz signing. I think Arteta's one of those managers. He's a player and thinks, look, he didn't get anything out of him. Look at me, I can get something out of him. It's like the Mount signing at United. I see it's the same way. These managers, they have a massive ego.
Exactly.
They're like, oh look, I can get something out of this. I don't get it, but
still, how do you think the midfield will face up? Ours against theirs? And don't forget, we'll have the inverted Porro as well, won't we, to make another man? So I think
the key for us will be Basuma. Like I remember at Brighton when he played against Arsenal, Basuma always turned up. I think Basuma's the one that's going to be big for us. But I also think Declan Rice is going to have a good game for them as well. I think it's pretty balanced, to be fair, because Declan Rice is a top player. Odegaard is having an unbelievable season. He was brilliant tonight again.
He's quality.
Vieira, he's a bit flimsy, but he's
playing
got
better.
talent.
He's
I think
playing
I'm better
better.
than Havertz this season.
He's
The
playing
only-
better. Yeah.
The only one I forget. The only one I worry about for us is Pape Sarr. Although he's good, he's young. And
He played well in North London Derby last season. He was one of the ones that actually
Yeah.
played well. He's probably
Yeah.
At our ground.
the only one that really played well.
Because it was him
Yeah, you're right,
there
you're
in
right.
midfield only.
Honestly, still, I got this whole Pape Sarr thing. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, he's too young." So he was a standout player for his country at a World Cup. They praised the shit out of him. He's got what it takes to deal with it. It's just, yeah, he's young, but it goes back to the Van de Ven thing as well.
Sarr's
Do you know what it
got
is
such
for
a
me?
high
Do
ceiling.
you know what it is for me, right? In a game like this, where it's going to be pressurized, it's going to be fiery, it's going to be emotional, it's going to need calm heads, it's going to need aggression, it's going to need a lot of psychological qualities. He's most likely the one that will fumble. That's why I say it. I don't between Basuma, Maddison, and Pape Sarr, he's the one I think is more likely to fumble. I'm not saying he will.
I agree. I agree.
I think he's
Absolutely.
right.
If you're
That's
going to
why-
pick
that's
one of
why I
them,
say it.
absolutely.
But
I think.
Oops.
Oh, it's a good job
Look.
that didn't fall down the toilet, Ellie, isn't it?
Well, he fell down the toilet, so I'm not aware of it.
I tell you what, I tell you one thing to look out for in this game, right? You see Declan Rice, he's not really come up against anyone on their game yet, like properly on their game. I know Casemiro is a really good player, but he's been dog shit this season. Tonight he wasn't too bad.
Tonight was
Tonight he was good, but he hasn't come up against anyone on their game. Maddison and Basuma are both on their game at the moment. Let's see if this £100 million player can justify his price tag. Because for me, so far, the £25 million Basuma has been better than Declan Rice this season.
Yeah. Have you seen him get forward that much? I haven't watched Arsenal much this season, but someone was saying the other day he tended to be sitting more.
He's
he's
playing
six.
holding midfield.
He's
defenders,
six.
in
He's
front of the
six.
central defenders. He was sitting back. I don't know how he
Yeah.
played today. I mean, if you
Holding
got an easy
midfield
one, you
again.
can get
Yeah.
him right. He's sitting back, is he? That's good.
Yeah, he sits.
So it's going to be Maddison. So basically, it's going to be Maddison
Madison
versus Rice and Odegaard versus Basuma, and then Vieira, Pape Sarr.
Yeah.
Then
Listen,
Porro's
it's going to be a great. This is going to be a great battle. It's going to be a great battle.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
It's going
I
to
just
be.
hope we turn up. 'Cause-
One thing I will say, I think our midfield has got more skill than their midfield. I mean, Odegaard's got skill. I don't think Declan Rice is a player full of technical skill.
The thing with Rice though, he's so good at intercepting the ball. Like
So is Pape Sarr.
He can read the game so well, Rice. I know he's not got that much pace as Sarr, but I really think Rice is really underrated. I probably say this every stream, but
And I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player. I would have taken Rice at Tottenham.
100 million.
I'll take
now.
that.
I know he
Yeah,
costs a
forget the
lot.
price
I would
tag.
take
Forget the price tags. They're mental, right? It's
Yeah.
the question. It's not the price. It's the player any good. That's what counts at the end of the day. Isn't it?
I think this game. I said it earlier when Mari was talking about the midfield. I think this game is going to be won down the flanks and between the goalkeepers. I honestly think the goalies are going to have a massive say in this game. I really, really do.
Yeah.
I think Raya's going to start, because he's the first choice now, apparently.
Vicario's made some great saves. His distribution's been good. He's got an accurate throw on him. I mean, he looks quality. It's still a bit early to say, but he's given confidence. He's shouting at his back four and all that, which I like.
Yeah.
To be honest, Vicario to me was a little bit shaky in like the first game or two.
Yeah.
And he
Went
looked
for the
like
way.
it was a
Yeah.
confidence thing. And so I had, I thought he looked good, but I had some doubts about him because I was hoping that he was going to shake off that all of that kind of confidence issue that he was having. And so far he has. The last couple of games, he's looking like he's got his confidence. And so we'll just see how this game turns out. But I mean, there's going to be a red card in there somewhere because there always is. And there's going to be a pen in there somewhere because there always is. There's always going to be a pen. There's always going to be a red card.
Odegaard's the player we got to shut down. That's the play we got to shut down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
He-
why.
he-
Trossard
me,
as well.
me,
Saka
who's their best player?
combination.
Odegaard's their best player.
And Trossard as well,
Yeah.
man. Trossard's class.
But Odegaard is honestly, I've watched him this season against Everton. I thought he was superb. Tonight, I think he was excellent again. Odegaard's the one we've really got to shut down. He connects everything, and he can score, and he creates. He's just a complete player.
Didn't he
He's
score
so
against
good.
us last season in the away?
Yeah, he
in the
did.
home game,
He
isn't
did at home at our ground. He scored a
That-
second goal.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that goal from far out.
He's
Well,
a
the
really
the
good
reason
player.
why I think we need to shut down Odegaard is, I mean, aside from his quality or whatever, I think that we need to shut him down because Odegaard, as their captain, and as he's shown in the past playing against us, he is relentless in that he will continue to fight. Like when we beat them in our stadium 3-0, he was like the only one that after everything was comfortable and we were winning for sure, he almost scored like at least once or twice after the game was pretty much won. He'll still push us all the way. When we get tired, he's still going to push us.
Look, if we had any brains, right? If we had any brains, I don't think Andrew will do this, but if he had any brains, he'd get Romero over to one side and say, look, when Odegaard gets on the ball in the first 5-10 minutes, if you get a chance, put a proper heavy challenge on him. Win the ball. You've got to win the ball.
Yeah.
But if you can land a proper... That will set the tone. And then Odegaard will think, fuck, do I really want to do 90 minutes against this Argentinian fruitcake? That's how... Do you want to go... If Romero put one on you in the first 5 minutes, do you want to spend the next 90 minutes?
Probably not.
I know.
Back of your head. At the back of your head, it's going to sit there. You plant a seed.
Oh, you got to be careful with that, though. I mean,
You do, because if he gets it wrong, he's off.
Yeah, he gets it wrong. He's up. Like, look at Holding versus Sonny. I mean, Holding's mission from go, in that North London derby was I got to go for Sonny. I'm man marking Sonny. I have to get in his head. I got to mess with him, and then he got sent off. Then Holding got sent off.
Yeah.
And he started that from like the moment the whistle blew.
Oh, what an idiot. They soon got rid of him. Yeah, but like,
I wish he was.
Go on, Ellie.
You know Odegaard, right? When we beat them 3-0, he got taken off because he was having a mare. He didn't really get into the game. For maybe the first 5-10 minutes when Arsenal were on top in that game. So we could control him. And we had Dyer that day, I think, or was it Sanchez? We had Sanchez, didn't we, playing? Yeah, we just got, because Saka and Odegaard, they link up very well. Yeah, if you can stop that link up play, because they can hurt you, right? And I'm scared of that because
spot on. This Romero did it to Haaland.
Yeah, he did it to Haaland. Yeah, he did.
One.
He took him out, didn't he?
Old school 1960s, 70s, 80s football. Just land one. Who was that guy? Who was that centre back at Spurs back in the day? He was known for being just tough as nails.
Graham Roberts?
Chopper Harris.
Graham Roberts.
Yeah.
Just a bit of Graham Roberts for a couple of minutes. Just a bit of
Does he need to pet his hair like he did for Cucurella?
I can't believe he got away with that. I can't believe he got away with that. Straight.
I think Cucurella's been damaged by Romero because he's not getting a look in at Chelsea. I think he's got.
Chelsea tried to loan him out, didn't they? I think. So United were interested for a while before they got Reguilon. Yeah.
To be fair, everything's wrong at Chelsea. Everything is wrong at Chelsea at the moment.
I know.
There's so much wrong.
It's a mess.
There's a great spirit in the Spurs squad, though, isn't there? I mean, they showed against. I see something which I've seen in the past, right, in other teams. I don't want people to get too overexcited, but I see this before. Not so much when I watched the double side. I was too young. I was 5 years old, and I was too young to appreciate what all the fuss was about. But through the early 70s, when we won trophies, the 80s, even up to the 90s, you get that little bit of a buzz, which I got at the stadium. We found a way to get across the line. Too many shots outside the box. We should have varied it with runners into the box, getting down the flanks a bit more and things like that.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of what we'd seen before when we were building a team to have success. And I'm smelling it. I'm smelling it now with this team.
Smell it.
they believe.
Adrian, do you not think that way about Harry, for example, or not?
About what?
Harry Redknapp's team with Bale, Lennon, Van der Vaart, Defoe, like all those quality players we had at the time.
Yeah, I mean, you got a buzz with another good players, weren't they? So you're always going to get a buzz when you got good players. But it's when you're in a cup and whether you're going on a run when you start thinking, like the 1991 Cup final, when we beat Arsenal 3-1 at Wembley and no one gave us a chance. Coming up to that, when Gazza got us across, we played Portsmouth at home, I think it was. We were struggling and Gazza got us across the line with a goal
away
or something. No, this was
away.
Well, I think we played them at home.
What, in 1991?
I'm not sure.
I know we played Notts County.
91 was away.
The Portsmouth one was away, wasn't it?
I wasn't even alive then, so...
Yeah, because I remember he scored.
How fucked up is that? I wasn't even alive.
Weren't you alive in 1991?
I was born in 92.
And you get that sense of momentum. And I mean... And we're gradually picking up a bit of speed here. We're building some momentum here. We won't lose on guys. And they're worried because they know that sooner or later that curse has got to be broke. I've had Arsenal fans. I mean, my best mate's an Arsenal fan, funny enough. I was best man at his wedding, right? And like they're all like, "Oh shit!" You know, we know. You're always wondering when you go to the Emirates, is this going to be the one when Spurs turn us over? Like, you know what I mean? So I said, yeah. Then you get all the bravado, like we're being brave now, and their fans are being brave now, and we're going to beat you, and they're going to. And what you find with fans when they're even more nervous, they come out with incredible scorelines. Oh, we're going to win 4-1 or 4-0 or 3-0 because they want a big gap in the scoreline to make them feel more comfortable in their own minds. Like, you know, that's what it is. When most games are 2-1, aren't they? 2-0, you know, whatever, 1-0. So. Yeah.
Can I ask you something, guys? Right, if we go to the Emirates on Sunday and we really, really give a brilliant effort and we just fall short, would you guys be okay with that? Would you guys obviously you'd be disappointed because we've lost because it's you know they're the enemy, but would you walk away from it? Do you know what? It's part of the process. It's just.
I disagree.
I've already done my maths. I'm sorry. Go on, Hans. You go.
Sorry, I would just, and the reason why is I know I'm going to get battering in WhatsApp.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, but WhatsApp aside, you as an individual, I get that. Listen, Derby Day abuse is big, but that aside, you just as a fan, just on your own, when the day after when you've slept on it, you've thought about it, would you say, do you know what? I can take that, or would you be like, fucking hell, bullshit again? You know, how would you take it?
We have to get at least a point for me to be happy. I'll
take but let's say we put in a really, really good performance, but for whatever reason we just fell short and we lost it. We lost it by a goal. You know, they were just that little bit better than us.
For like a week.
Even if we turn up.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Naturally, I would, as I'm confident of a win, I'd be disappointed with the loss. It's not going to affect us because we're getting Champions League anyway, and I'll tell you why. Right? Last year, Liverpool finished 5th with 67 points. If you win 23 games this year, so suppose in any team, you get 69 points, right? 23. That's giving you 2 extra points to play with, right? That leaves 15 games. So if it repeats itself this year, Spurs could lose 45 points and still get Champions League games. Besides that, do you think Spurs are going to lose 15 games this season? Not a chance in hell. Not a chance.
Depends on injuries, Adrian. For me, it's all about injuries.
Yeah, but you know, now we go into what I call hypotheticals, which, you know, I mean, like,
because we lost Perisic, and if we lose either Van de Ven or Romero, Eric Dijk.
The drop off is big.
That's a huge drop off.
It is.
Still got what's going to happen with Lo Celso? What's going to happen with Brian Gill as an impact sub? So we, like you said,
Bentancur.
We need a quality left back, and please, people, don't talk to me about backups. We're Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, one of the 10th richest clubs in the world, and I get fucking annoyed when people talk about backups because we should be talking about equal quality or as near as quality as what we got.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you.
That's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're talking about Arsenal, Martinelli's out. That's right. We'll just bring Trossard in. You know what I
Solid.
mean? It's and he has a fantastic game. That's the difference. We've got a group of players that we think we're starting 11, but then when someone drops off, it's like, well, we've got someone there, but they're not really the same. Therefore, we have to start playing slightly different because they're not the same. Whereas the difference, if you're going to the end of a game and you want to change the game the way you're playing, we've got that type of player in.
We know
we had it in Perisic, but
we
that's
know
the
we need
strength
a
in depth, isn't it?
A quality left back as backup for you, Dougie, minimum. We know we need a quality left-footed centre back, and I'd like a left-footed centre back. Even if we went back for Nkappi, who's left-footed or something like that. And the reason being is I'm more comfortable. I don't know what Stella is with his teams. I'm more comfortable when you got one of each. I remember when we lost the first game at the stadium to West Ham, and Vertonghen was injured, and Alderweireld was playing on the left side, and Antonio done him. Now, when you're staying, I used to play right back. I was crap, right? Don't worry about that. But like, my shape is geared to my right foot. Alderweireld's shape to me was geared to his right foot, and I couldn't help thinking. Now, it's probably out of desperation and looking for an answer off. That if we'd had a left-footed centre back there, he could have stopped Antonio from scoring. But I might be talking absolute rubbish. But I just thought I want a left-footed centre back, you know. And Ashley Phillips does look good, you know. And I watched Dorothy yesterday. He looked okay. He let the ball run under his foot once, but he looked okay.
I think we're going to have at least one loss this season that's going to be a bad loss. Like, it's going to be like, you know, a high scoring against us loss. You know, I'm mentally preparing for that, because with us playing on the front foot, we are only, like you're all saying, we're only an injury or two away from, you know, a pretty poor back line, and us being attacking football. I'm not saying that we're going to play badly in general. I'm just saying that I'm mentally preparing for us to have at least one really bad loss. Because we're pretty open in the back.
I can see us get beat by 2 goals or something at times, but I don't see a big loss, because I just think we push up. We've got so much pace to get us out of trouble that we won't get a Tonkin. We'll get beat, but we won't get a Tonkin. I don't see us getting a Tonkin at all. What do you mean by a Tonkin? How many goals? How many goals?
I think that, you know, letting 3
4-1, a 4-0.
Yeah, you know, letting 3 or more in. I think that's a big loss.
Maybe against Man City.
I don't know. I don't see it happening, because we're going to be pushing, and I don't. Unless every counter attack they have, they are absolutely ruthless, on point. Everything just hits the mark. Then anything's possible. But I've told you, I said 2-2. My prediction is 2-2.
Yeah, I mean, we're not as weak as the back says. Like when we spanked Liverpool 4-1 at Wembley, when they had Lovren at the back and they had to take him off, right? We got sort of, our defenders aren't that bad that they're going to get spanked. I just don't see it.
Well, not in this game, but I'm saying that in the future, I can see us doing, like, you know, having a 3-1 or 3-0, you know, or something. Like, I totally can see that happening, especially if we have a defender or 2 injured.
I think if we were to get pumped and lose, I don't even think it would be City. I would think it would be Liverpool. I think
we've got more chance.
Murray, do you know what? Though? We always have a close game against Liverpool. There's always one goal in it with them, isn't it? We actually give Liverpool a game. I think we're the only team that genuinely gives Liverpool a game every time. We just make a fucking ridiculous mistake that costs us every time. Either Moura passes it to the striker, Dyer heads it to their striker, the goalie drops it in the net. We always do something stupid against Liverpool.
No, I think if we get pumped, it's going to be Brighton.
I don't think
it's going to be Brighton, or it's going to be. I know Brighton or
good.
I don't think Liverpool's defence is as good as Arsenal's defence. We beat Arsenal. We beat Liverpool at home.
Yeah, Liverpool's defence.
We've got to be Arsenal, Adrian. We've got to be Arsenal.
Don't worry. The stars are aligning as we speak.
I hope you're right.
Sunday.
If you're right, I'm going to clip this and share it with the world. I'm like, Adrian,
I don't mind. I get accused of being delusional, but I do like to back it up with like some common sense facts. I like to think, but I mean,
you're right, Adrian. You're right.
So it's going to be.
You know what it is? You know what it is, right? As a Spurs fan, you're just conditioned to not get excited when things are going well, because you're just used to the inevitable happening. So now we're on this good little flow and everything's kind of sinking. You're shitting yourself to be happy because you just know as soon as you are happy, it just gets taken away from you. And I think I think we're just conditioned to not. We just don't know what to do.
The reason why I bring up, me mentally preparing for at least one game where we're having a big loss is because I also, when and if that happens, I also won't be reactionary about it. Like some fans, if that happens, they're going to be like, "Oh, it's the worst, day ever," and Ange out or whatever. And I'm not going to be that way, because I'm saying that I see that being a possibility, and we're going to have some hard times ahead, which is fine because that is normal. Then we're going to have a good game after that,
If they say Ange out after one loss, they're crazy, man.
Oh,
They're
look,
no one's going to do that.
Well, if
look, I mean, my in the toilet again. My Spurs immune system's quite strong. I mean, I witnessed Spurs getting relegated in the 76-77 season before we bought our dealers and Archibald and Crooks, and watched that fantastic run in the early 80s when we were winning everything. And so my immune system's quite strong. What I don't get with Spurs fans, some of them are more pessimistic, but that might be just the nature of people. Some people are naturally pessimistic, some sort of tread a middle path, some are optimistic like me, right? Or delusional even,
We're conditioned. The last 20 years we've been conditioned.
That's true, I understand that. But what I don't get is when
who's crying
after the game Saturday, and there's people on there. Mr. Box Office was on, for Christ's sake, and there was others on, and they're giving it all negative and being doom mongers. Oh yeah, but we'll lose the next game. We'll lose that, and I'm going, hang about. I'm going, whoa. In football, I said there's more heartaches than there are wins, right? So when you get a win, enjoy it. Like Ange said in his post-match conference, enjoy the moment, celebrate. I got wrecked. I'll admit. It took me 2 days to recover, right? But like, enjoy the moment, because if you can't enjoy it when you win, there's no point in going.
It's all right. It's all right for him to say that, because everywhere he's been, he's felt success. Everywhere we've been with Spurs, we've always ended up in the mud. So he's coming at it from a different world. Let's see what he says in 3 years' time. Let's see what Ange says in 3 years' time.
Another show. Well, I'll tell you how Ange Postecoglou, through the ether of football and history, arrived at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and that will go from how Spurs were pioneers of total football in the 70s. I can go through all that with you. It's a very good and interesting story.
Hold on, David Clark. I know you're
half a row in the 50s developed. He developed the game you spoke about, and he learned that from a Dutch guy. I had to study it in one of my courses. It's actually 1950s we invented that.
It's prior to that.
Billy.
Okay, so David Clark, I know you're a regular. Who's crying when I say that we're going to at least at one point this season, and at least one game this season, we're going to get pumped? That's not crying. That's just saying.
David's missed half the show. David's missed half the show. He's missed most of the show. He's missed all the bits where we've been positive and.
I said one game. I said at least one game.
Just rewind the episode, David. We've been positive, right? And we've been objective about how we go. I say 3-3 draw, positive result. Stell says 2-2. Lee says, what was it? 2-2.
I think it's going to be 2-2 or something like that as well. Yeah,
I said 2-2.
2-2. Ellie has 5-0. Us.
No, I said 4-2.
4-2, and Adrian had 3-1. It's only has losing.
As we're getting absolutely torn to pieces. We should start Richie.
Yeah, we should start Richie. So, I mean, David, just watch the whole episode. We've been.
Have you guys got 10 minutes to spare still?
We're about to probably end in
we can chat backstage.
Yeah. But we got all our predictions. We will we do have we have two different channels here. We'll start with Ellie. Ellie, where can people see you?
They can see me loads of places, but I've got a regular spot on Savas Football Heritage with Kate on every Tuesday now. It was Mondays, but it switched to Tuesday.
Check it out.
And then
It's a
I'm
good show.
Yeah, and then I'm on with Kate on Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs. We have a great laugh on there. It's a Spurs channel, but we have a great laugh, don't we, Adrian? Right?
It's a light heart. It's light entertainment. You have more.
It's very light entertainment. We have good fun. And then I go on other people's shows. I want to big up Jose on El Tel Cocorel because he needs a little bit of help with his tech. So if you guys can help him out, because he's having trouble. So, and he's a very good Spurs fan. He's from the same old school mentality as Adrian, you know. So, and he's got a lot to offer our community. Jose Garcia, come on, big him up. And the Free Spurs boys, because I love them with Bobby Callie and his lads. Yeah. So there you go. That's my thing over. And I just want to wish every single channel that goes on YouTube, like, you know, good luck with growing your channels and, you know, keep on persevering. Forget about all the crap that's going on and just put your heads down and work hard and build your channels up, especially Tottenham away, because you've had a hard time of it, you know?
Yeah, we reached 5K again. We say again, but
I've been the most Spursy of everyone.
Yeah.
Proper Spursy.
We have Has. Are you officially on a view from South Stands, or we can't hear you? We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
As he's saying, he's got his own channel called Hasper TV. He's got his own channel.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it was my microphone. Yeah, I'm saying, so me and Ellie actually streamed on my channel earlier today, so my channel still exists. But I'm on View from the South tomorrow at 6 o'clock with a preview show for the North London Derby. Normally be on a Friday, but I had to move it to tomorrow because I've got something on Friday now, so I can't do it. But yes, I do preview shows every week there now, and then I go on the post-match every week, basically, almost. I only missed last week. And then sometimes the Hassan Hash show happens. Now it's actually on pause, Marlon told me, so I don't know when it's going to come back. It's to do with the timings, not to do with like it's being cancelled. It's just to do with like fitting in with times. And then I'm just spread around here and there, I guess, as well. So yeah, go subscribe for View from the South, Hasper TV, and anyone else who has a YouTube channel that supports Spurs.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll put the links on the video so people can subscribe. They just hit their 1K, 1,000, and they just did a show on Tuesday. Just audio.
Ashmatic's one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just audio.
Yeah, it's good and he's good.
He knows his stuff.
And
I was on that show. That was yesterday.
Yeah.
I was on that. That was a good show last night, actually.
I think I commented in there and just said listening to Ashmatic talk tactics is like therapy.
Yeah,
I could listen to him all night. The way he breaks stuff down and that is fantastic. The way that he does it.
Good lad.
He has a good voice for it. That's what it is. Like his voice is really soothing. Yeah.
Good voice. Yeah. And then on this channel is Slam. Tomorrow is North London, is ours. It's going to be crazy. It's about to be crazy. Tomorrow it's going to be a train wreck, a good train wreck, which is good. Check it out tomorrow, 9:30.
Okay. TJ Murray.
Me, TJ. He got his lineup. Stefan, Fran, Jez is coming on, and now DJ is coming on. So I'm excited. He was talking trash today. He's about to jump on. I got box office. Was to get back at Stefan.
Yes, box office. I'm definitely watching the show now. Well. Alex is on it.
AJ lined up Jez.
Dean Stixie wants to come on as well.
You know, I'm
Steph-
Alex's biggest fan.
Yeah.
His biggest fan.
It may go a bit long, and I may have to switch people out because people have been. Yes, anybody who's a YouTuber, getting guests is hard. Now, everybody, even people who haven't been on, is like, "Hey, how do I get on tomorrow's show?" I'm like, "Wait." I'm like, "Oh man, I have too much." Because the most you can have is 10. I'm gonna go 5 against 5 tomorrow, and there's more people that would come on. So I'm like, we may have to go on rotation.
We got
It-
Friday
Derby
as
day,
well.
innit?
I guess
Derby
it's
day.
Friday
What
different
happens?
show.
It's
Yeah.
Derby day. It's Derby
Yeah.
weekend.
It's Derby week, so
It's
so
all
that's Thursday, and then on Friday, if you didn't get enough Friday, we got a show stuff Friday Night Live. We're gonna have Tottenham and Arsenal banter. We have a couple Arsenal people coming on Friday, right?
Saturday.
I'm just going to put a link in the chat on Friday, and everyone wants to jump on.
Is
We're
it?
going to
Alright,
talk
okay.
about. It's not just Tottenham Arsenal. We're going to talk about the Premier League weekend coming up, but it will end up being Tottenham Arsenal. It will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
of course
If
it
I'm free,
will.
I'll jump on. Yeah.
It's going to get hijacked.
And then Saturday afternoon, we'll do a show, and then Sunday, we have the watch along, but Sunday night we'll have Will's show, and then we'll have a show before that.
Yeah.
Depending whatever the results is, it's going to be wild. And so, yeah, a lot to watch on TA, and some of us are going to appear some other Arsenal channels and stuff. So over the weekend, so it's good.
If we beat you goons out there that have been talking shit, come outside and don't hide. Come
Could be
outside.
hiding under a rock.
Do not hide. Do not hide.
You know, I might be watching the game with 2 Arsenal fans and 1 other Spurs fan. It's not decided yet, but I'll find out in the morning. Yeah.
Do you know what?
One of the best
True
videos
story.
I see about that was when, and I don't go and watch his blogs because he's a bit strong for me at times. When we won 3-0 at the line of Preston, right? Holding got sent off, and expressions was with the 4 Arsenal fans. Did you ever see that video? Because he did not give it to him. How there wasn't a fight, I don't know. You know the way he goes on.
Do you guys remember the Sky Sports initially where they had the fans doing commentary? You could pick the Sky ones. Do you remember the 4-4 and it has the Spurs fan just takes off his shirt?
Yeah. He jumped on him, didn't he? And he said something weird. He goes, he done an Alfie Boyle or something, some random goal that he just plucked out. True story. I will never, ever, because of this story, I will never watch the game with Gooners again, ever. A while back, we're going back a good 15, 20 years. I went to a pub, and it was one of those, this side of the pub's Arsenal, that side of the pub's Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Never doing that again. It was the game. We went when Adebayor, we went 2-0 up and we lost 4-5-2.
5-2. Yeah.
It was fucking horrible in there at 4-2. Like, I mean, horrible. To the point where I had to leave the pub because either I was going to hurt someone or someone's going to hurt me. I thought, I can't do it. This is horrid. Like, the hatred was diabolical. I left. I said, I'm never, ever watching it with Gooners again. I can't.
No.
If I'm not with Spurs fans, I can't do it. I'll rather be on my own or with Spurs fans. It's the worst game to be with rival fans. You can't do it. Can't do it.
Because basically, in my friendship groups, there was me and 1 other Spurs fan and 2 Arsenal fans. So it's like, do you know what I mean?
Get rid of the Arsenal fans.
We'll sit down and watch this together. We'll talk about doing it on Sunday, but
right, maybe like 2-3 of you, okay. But when it's
together, but
I don't know, man. It's too much. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
No, there's a Spurs pub over here with the SF Spurs supporters. Go to like a pub in SF, and I watched the Chelsea game there way back. You know, when Kane had his last minute equalizer, right? And it was just insane in there because we all, and then the Chelsea, there was a handful of Chelsea fans, and they were like lingering by the door, and they just like got further and further away from the pub.
It's horrible.
As things started to turn.
The Ange effect has attracted a lot of Aussie supporters to Spurs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like Simon Korea. Well, apparently, Spurs have the fastest growing fan base in the USA. And they're putting it down to the fact that we have NFL games at the stadium. And then when people get used to it and they watch the games, it's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, what's that and all that. I mean, I don't know how true it is, but I can believe it because there must be a reason for us having. We've got so many supporters clubs in America.
Well, it's ex-American football players: Clint Dempsey, Casey
yeah.
Keller,
So-
Brad Friedel.
Irrelevant
It's a bit
information.
weird there, Adrian.
If you guys get a chance, look at Clint Dempsey's interview with Kate Abbo. Very tearful. He talks about, because he comes from a rough upbringing, small town, and he talked about if he had better coaching, he would have been even better than what he is, and really, really telling. I have to say one of my favorite Spurs players, even though it was just for season 12-13.
Is it only here for 1 year or 2 years?
It was one
Clint
year.
Dempsey.
Season.
2 seasons. Because he scored against Man United away.
And the 1-1 draw,
He
wasn't
scored
it? Yeah.
when it was raining, wasn't it? He got the equaliser right at the death. Yeah, he wasn't a bad player.
I love the fact that she remembers it was raining, and
I
then
think it was
Matt,
snowing.
like, God knows how long ago. Jesus, my memory
I
must be
know.
It's
going.
snowing, not raining.
That's amazing.
Yeah, right.
That's
You
absolutely
always-
amazing.
Because my mum used to say, we always win when it's raining. So I went home and I said, we didn't win, Mum. We drew.
She's right. She's
Oh.
right. I actually said that to my friends. Ellie, I swear on my life, I've actually said to my friends, I hope it rains because we'll win. I shit you not. I'm totally on a level with your mum. I totally get it.
I know. My mum.
One of my favourite games at White Hart Lane was
Oh,
Liverpool
shit,
2-1.
Stel. Fucking sunny. Thanks, mate.
Ah, fuck.
Because it rained
Well,
on
it was-
bloody day as well.
Maybe
Right?
the weatherman's wrong sometimes.
My mum, she's very much like Ange Postecoglou. She just says it as it is.
Oh,
What? She eats a lot of kebabs.
I was going to say, what, 5'9" and grey?
What a beard.
I tell ya.
Oh man!
Let the belly like him.
On that note, we are out. We will see you guys tomorrow.
That's a shame.
Like I said, it's already begun. We saw the trash talking tonight, but it was only us Spurs fans today. Tomorrow, now it's live. Ding, 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 ding. Boxing.
I'm not sorry for you guys off stream. You want 10 minutes of interesting Spurs facts?
Yeah.
I'll be backstage.
Okay.
We'll be backstage. All right. Well, I'm so sorry for the stream, but we have to end. We are about to hit 3 hours. I don't want to hit 3 hours. But check us out tomorrow, 9:30. The madness starts tomorrow. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you
Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs.
Go on, Tom.
Come on.